I'm just standing here, staring down at my own hand. My HP pool is sitting at a cool 31 trillion. Usually, my passive ability regens 1% of that every single second. Except this zone is slashing that recovery rate straight in half, which means I'm only pulling in 0.5% per second now. Then again, that's still 15.5 billion health recovered every tick. So honestly, it's not really bothering me all that much. I gaze out at the endless desert, dunes rolling into the horizon. Apparently, there are 137 different mob types roaming this place, and clearing each one rewards me with anywhere from 1 to 10 survival points. My target goal is 1,000 points max, which translates to dropping a minimum of 100 targets, or maybe closer to a grand. Taking a deep breath, I set off. Suddenly, the wind whips up out of nowhere. Grains of sand start pelting my face like tiny razor blades. Roughly 10 minutes in, the terrain right beneath me gives way, and I find myself rapidly dropping into quicksand. I leap and wrench myself free in the nick of time. Right then, a massive head erupts violently from the desert floor, positioned exactly where I was just standing. The thing is easily the size of a water storage tank. It's got 0 eyes, just a circular maw packed with rotating fangs. Basically a living, breathing meat grinder. This lovely creature is called an abyss sandworm. Measuring 20 meters long, it proceeds to engulf me entirely in a single gulp. Inside its belly, it's pitch fucking black. Rows of teeth are gnawing away at me from every conceivable angle. It's dishing out an insane amount of DPS with every passing second. Too bad my thorn damage proc is dishing the pain right back. And with equal force, whatever this beast swallowed down must feel like pure, unyielding iron inside its gut. It can't chew me up, and hacking me back out isn't working either. After about 3 seconds of wildly thrashing around in the dirt, the creature totally freezes up and drops dead. I drag myself back out, drenched in some foul, incredibly stinky slime. That whole ordeal only netted me a measly 8 survival points. Pressing onward, the ground beneath my boots begins to churn, forming hundreds of small, bubbling mounds, before a swarm of pitch-black scorpions bursts out from everywhere. A massive wave of them, fist-sized, is rushing right at me. Their venomous stings stack up and deplete my HP. With each passing second, I activate my taunt skill, sending them into an absolute frenzy, clambering over one another just to get to me. At first, I'm completely buried under a mountain of scorpions, all striking me simultaneously. Some literally snap their own tails while attacking. Others crack open or burst into black goo. Yet they just won't quit. They keep charging for 20 straight minutes, until the absolute last one drops dead at my feet, stabbing me one final time before going completely still. I end up taking down 347 of the things, earning me 694 points. Added to my previous score, I'm now sitting at 702 out of 1,000. Yanking the stinger out of my foot, I push onward. An hour later, I come across a massive ruin, easily the size of 10 football fields. Crumbling walls are everywhere, inscribed with those strange glyphs I've seen before. It's dead silent, but the instant I step inside, everything shifts. The ruins completely vanish, and suddenly I'm in a blood-red realm littered with bones, beneath a crimson sky, with shrieks echoing from all directions. Haunting, translucent figures come flooding out from every corner. Men, women, old and young alike. Their faces are a blur, save for their glowing, fiery red eyes. These things are sand wraiths, and their signature ability packs a 1% chance to trigger an instant kill on me, unless my stats significantly outmatch theirs. Which, luckily for me, they do. I pop my taunt, and they mob me like absolute lunatics, slashing away with strikes that completely ignore defense. Every single hit lands as pure, unmitigated damage, but each time one connects with me, its limb snaps right off from the recoil damage. 2 strikes, and both its arms are history. 10 hits, and half its body just disintegrates. I literally just stand there, and let hundreds of them rip into me. My HP drops by a few hundred billion, but it instantly tops right back up. Sweet. Which means their one-shot kill mechanic can't actually proc on me. 10 minutes later, every single one of them has crumbled to dust, blending right into the bone-littered floor. Taking out 127 of them nets me 1,016 points, bringing my grand total to 1,718. That's already plenty to clear this floor, but I'm not bouncing just yet. I caught a glimpse of the ashes right before they faded. The rage and madness in their eyes was completely gone. They just looked relieved. Shaking it off, I press on deeper into the ruins. 20 minutes down the line, I stumble upon a massive, circular altar spanning 500 meters. crafted entirely from dark obsidian stone. Right in the center stands a colossal stone pillar, engraved with glowing crimson glyphs that throb like a steady heartbeat. Hunched over at the base of the pillar is a silhouette, composed entirely of shifting sands. It rises to a height of 5 meters, resembling a living sand dune, and informs me that it serves as the zone's warden. To advance any further, I'll have to take it down. It gestures behind me, and the ruins completely vanish, replaced instead by a boundless desert wasteland, teeming with endless sand wraiths crawling out from below. Every single one of them fixes me with those same red eyes. The warden lays out the conditions. These phantoms won't actually engage me directly, but they'll spectate the match. Every blow I take, they'll mock me. Every time I go down, they'll cheer. And the moment I finally kick the bucket, they're gonna rip my corpse to shreds and devour it. It demands to know if I'm ready, but I give it total silence. Instead, I just trigger my taunt skill. The Sand Guardian's entire frame convulses, like it just took a massive hit. Stunned, it glares at me and demands to know what I just did. I ignore that question too. I simply take a single step forward. With a wild roar, it lunges and clocks me right in the chest. The blow connects, but my recoil damage completely shatters its fist into dust. Yet, it doesn't miss a beat, unleashing a barrage of punches and kicks, vicious headbutts and body slams. But every single strike wraps up the exact same way. That specific limb explodes into loose sand. Still, it just keeps piecing itself back together, pressing the attack over and over, only to disintegrate time and again. I just stand there like a statue, letting it wear itself out. 10 minutes later, it has shriveled to a mere fraction of its starting size. It's shaking violently, the sand within entirely drained, completely dull and burnt out, staring up at me with what's left of its face. It manages to choke out that I'm a monster. Right then, its whole form begins to fall apart, with chunks of sand sloughing off rapidly. This time, it's not regenerating. Past the disintegrating pillar, a doorway materializes. It looks identical to that stone threshold from before. Crossed over, I plunge straight into pitch blackness. A mere 3 seconds pass before the gloom lifts, revealing that I'm standing in the middle of a colossal palace. It's far grander than anything I've come across yet. The ceiling fades away into a heavy, overhead mist, while the walls are draped in massive frescoes, illustrating a legendary, prehistoric conflict. Innumerable beasts are locked in combat, amidst endless bloodshed and mountains of corpses. Right in the middle of the space, an elderly man is perched on an elevated dais, snowy-haired and cloaked in a shredded gray vestment. His chin is down, looking fast asleep. As I approach him, he gradually raises his gaze. His skin is a map of deep creases, his eyes milky, resembling those of a dead fish. He stares my way for a brief moment, before offering a subtle, quiet smirk, muttering at long last, "Someone actually managed to get here." The old guy slowly lifts his head, locking eyes with me, through those opaque lenses, as if attempting to peer right through my soul. "A millennium," he notes, his tone raspy, like gravel grinding against stone. "You're the very first soul to ever reach me." Keeping quiet, I simply observe him without a word. He flashes me a weary, melancholic grin, gesturing for me to take a seat. By pointing toward the stone stairs beneath his perch, pausing for a split second, I head over and sit down. He makes his way down too, sluggish and deliberate, like each movement drains whatever strength he has left. Settling in beside me, he looks up at the misty roof. We just sit there in total silence for quite a while, long enough for me to assume he's done speaking. Out of nowhere, he asks my name. "Sulin." I reply, and he voices it back to me. Nodding, he mentions that he goes by Ajira the shaman. He tacks on, noting nobody's called him that in 1,000 years. Staring at him, I realize that name isn't from around here. "You aren't a native of this place, are you?" I inquire. He lets out a faint, cynical chuckle. "Kid, this place isn't even a proper realm." He explains that this is merely a fracture, a boundary rift linking multiple Tier 1 worlds. And as for me, I'm just a stray ghost, who's been stranded down here for a millennium. I've pretty much fused with the rift itself by now. I just wait for him to carry on. Then he tells me he originated from somewhere incredibly far away, a realm known as the Star of Heavenly Fall. Apparently, it's a Tier 1 world. I'm totally lost, but he says that's completely fair, and that he'll break it down from the beginning. He leans back, his gaze turning distant as he speaks. "The cosmos," he explains, "is grander than you could ever comprehend, packed with countless worlds divided into 3 distinct tiers. Tier 1 worlds sit right at the bottom. The inhabitants there are just starting to unlock. their true potential and evolve, naively believing that's all there is to life, clueless that a massive universe exists right above them. Now, Tier 2 worlds are a massive step up. Far mightier warriors, more abundant resources, and highly superior technology. A single Tier 2 world serves as a hub for hundreds, or maybe even thousands, of Tier 1 worlds. Then you have Tier 3 worlds at the absolute peak, where the beings are so insanely powerful. They can literally manipulate the fabric of reality itself. My thoughts are spinning as I process this. So, the tower to heaven? I murmur. He nods. Spot on. The tower acts as a gateway, a corridor forged by the very will of the world. The will of the world? Just view it as the core operating system of this cosmos. He clarifies. It doesn't possess a conscious mind, but it has a singular drive to force every planet to evolve. But how? He stares back at me with a look full of mixed emotions. Through pure survival of the fittest, inhabitants of Tier 1 worlds fight tooth and nail to ascend. Beat the 99th floor, and you earn passage into a Tier 2 world. The elite reap the rewards. He hesitates, before pressing on, intentionally pacing his words. But here's the kicker, the real horror. The moment you finally scale floor 99 and actually cross over to a Tier 2 world, you quickly grasp that the locals don't even consider you human. His voice goes quiet, weighed down by an immense burden. I was the very first from my world to beat floor 99. Back then, I was so full of myself, convinced I was the ultimate champion of my entire planet. I stepped onto that Tier 2 world, basking in absolute glory and confidence. And just like that, he falls silent. The quiet drags on. So what went down next? I prod. He gazes upward, staring at the ceiling, his eyes welling up. Then I got bagged. The captors looked exactly like his own people, shared his language, and possessed advanced tech. Yet they stared at him like he was just a bug. They hauled him off to a massive metropolis, teeming with folks just like him, all abducted from various Tier 1 planets. What do they make you do? I inquire. He turns his gaze toward me. Slave labor. Amusement for the masses. He goes on to explain how they manipulate the tower to construct never-ending amusement hubs across the Tier 1 realms, treating his people like mere playthings. Women were forced into dancing. Men were pushed into gladiator fights. The attractive ones became personal slaves, while anyone with real strength was broken for hard labor. Our lives meant absolutely nothing to them. Our pride was completely ground into the dirt. We wept while they laughed. We perished while they cheered. My hand gradually balls into a tight fist. Did anyone try to fight back? They did. He answers, and every single one was slaughtered. You get why I keep my mouth shut? He looks me straight in the eye. Because just one level 100 brawler from their side could wreck 100 of our own level 100 guys, all by themselves. The gulf between Tier 1 and Tier 2 isn't something everyday talent can bridge. It's a fundamental difference in the laws of power. Their skill sets operate on a totally different wavelength, and their gear is miles ahead. How the hell are you even supposed to fight back? As I fall silent, he sighs and continues. Down the road, he found out most Tier 2 worlds aren't actually like that. He once crossed paths with someone from a different Tier 2 planet who mentioned their society treated Tier 1 folks with kindness. Anyone who conquered the tower was embraced, coached, and taken in as one of their own. But the Tier 2 planet linked to our world. He pauses, his gaze turning icy. It's known as the Star of Blood and Flame. They pride themselves on conquest and get off on slavery. To them, Tier 1 players are nothing but insects. Mere pleadings. The second someone beats floor 99, they deploy their heavy hitters to completely subjugate the entire world. They don't want a fair trade. They demand total surrender. My breath hitches. And that's the Tier 2 world bound to our own planet, too? He nods, going by everything I've gathered. I stay quiet for a long moment, then ask, when are they dropping in? He shakes his head, unsure of the exact timing. But usually, they hold off until someone clears floor 99, before launching a full-scale invasion, since that's when the gateway becomes totally stable, and they can flood the zone with troops. However, the Star of Blood and Flame doesn't follow the standard playbook. They could show up as early as tomorrow. Whether it's next year or a decade from now, it just depends on their mood. I stare blankly at him. How do you know all this? He smiles bitterly. Because I witnessed it with my own eyes. He was taken captive and dragged off to the planet of Blood and Flame, enduring 2 centuries of forced labor. While there, he encountered countless souls, abducted from various other Tier 1 worlds. And by swapping stories with them, he managed to piece together the entire truth. Eventually, he made a break for it during some chaos, and bolted straight into a spatial rift. But the thing was unstable, dragging him out here instead. It kept him trapped for 1,000 years, until he eventually merged right into the rift itself, doomed to never get away. Lifting his hand, he gazes down at his own shriveled palm. A millennium, and I can't break free. I can't even die. All I could do is wait. Just wait for someone to finally reach my side. He looks over at me, and now I finally have. Meeting his eyes, I ask, why are you sharing all this with me? He falls silent for a few moments. Because you're not like the rest, he finally replies. There is something bizarre about you. Your lifeblood is ridiculously dense. Way thicker than it logically should be. Your passive trait carries an eerie sort of might. I honestly can't read you at all. The old man pauses in silence for a bit, those hazy eyes remaining fixed on me. Then he suddenly chuckles. You really are different. You truly are. Getting to his feet, he walks back toward his dais and pulls an object from his sleeves. It is a pitch-black, fist-sized rock, etched with delicate golden motifs pulsing across its surface, breathing with life as they brighten and fade. Recognize this? I shake my head. Passing it to me, he says, it's called a furnace stone, one of the rarest treasures in the entire cosmos. It feels quite chilly in my hand, but those golden lines ignite. The exact moment they hit my palm, his tone drops to a serious pitch. Its function is simple. It converts one of your junk skills into raw power, which you then use to supercharge a different ability. The skill you give up is gone for good, but the one you buff gets a massive upgrade. I pause. Buff a skill. Pulling up my status screen, I check my trio of passive traits. Healing Boost regenerates 1% of my max HP every second. Bone Spike. Fury sends 25% of all received damage right back at the attackers. Taunt forces every single monster within 100 meters to lock all their aggro onto me. Every single one of these is vital. I can't spare a single one. There is absolutely no way I'm scrapping any of them. Noticing the look on my face, the old guy chuckles again. Back on my homeworld, this artifact only surfaces once a century. I've kept this particular one stashed away for a millennium, just waiting for the perfect fit. He stares right in my eyes. Utilize it correctly, and your power will skyrocket. I'm pretty sure you realize just how crucial it is. I fall silent for a brief moment before asking, why hand it to me? He blinks, then cracks up laughing. Why? Well, because you're the first human I've run into in 1,000 years. Because I refuse to let those jerks from the planet of blood and flame have an easy time. And because I like you. Fair enough, I chuckle right back. Just a small, genuine smirk. Good enough for me. His laughter cuts short as he fixes me with a deadpan look. Kid, let me clue you in on something else. I straighten my posture as he goes on. Folks from our tier 1 worlds only get a single shot at awakening abilities. An SSS rank is the ultimate limit for folks like us. But those from tier 2 planets can actually awaken twice. My brows furrow in disbelief. Twice? Seriously? He nods. Yeah, their initial awakening happens at 18. Just like ours, but they get a second shot at it later on by using this thing called a Star Source Stone. Once that second awakening hits, they unlock a whole new power. So, basically an SSS rank prodigy from a tier 2 world ends up wielding 2 separate SSS rank abilities. My hands gradually ball into fists. And that's not even all. He continues. Their equipment doesn't max out at legendary rank either. Past legendary, you've got epic, mythic, and eternal. Each tier completely doubles your stats. Plus, the people from tier 3 planets get to awaken their powers 3 different times. I fall completely silent for a moment. Suddenly, my mind flashes back to all those corpses, littering the entire rift. Names belonging to different worlds. And that bizarre, cryptic script carved on the walls. So that's what it means. They didn't all hail from the same domain. They originated from entirely different worlds, all drawn together by this exact same rift, only to perish in the exact same spot. So, if a hunter from our world manages to clear floor 99 and finally steps onto a tier 2 planet, I begin slowly. He nods. Spot on. You'd score a shot at a second awakening by utilizing their Star Source Stone. But that's where the catch is. He pauses, his gaze turning ice cold. That Star Source Stone is their property. They're the ones who have to willingly hand it over. If they say no, you're permanently stuck with just a single power. Do you really think those savages, from a star of blood and flame, would ever share it with us? I offer no reply. The reality is blindingly obvious. Not a chance. To those guys, Earthlings are nothing but mere slaves. Just toys or ants to be crushed underfoot. The old-timer gets up and brushes the dirt off himself. Kid, I've said everything I needed to say. The rest is up to you. He turns around, walking toward the platform by the exit, Stopping for a moment, his voice drifted back to me, as soft as a breeze. Kid, just remember, don't let those bastards win. Without looking back, I step right through the doorway. A sudden flash of light, and I'm standing back in the middle of the desert. Right behind me, that massive stone portal begins to cave in. Boulders are coming down one by one, with the ruins fading out of existence, until the whole thing totally collapses. As the dust settles, I just stand there staring at the debris. This rift has been around for 34 long years. 47 people went in to clear it, and every single soul died. Now it's finally gone. I catch my breath and pull up my status menu. Congratulations on clearing Rift CN 0571. Sandstorm Death Zone. I look down at the dark stone held in my palm. Those glowing golden patterns are still rippling, quite slowly across its surface. It feels warm to the touch, almost like it's alive. Item description for the furnace stone. Converts one learned skill directly into raw energy. In order to level up a different skill, the sacrificed skill will vanish forever, while the upgraded skill receives a massive boost in power. I gaze at that specific line for a few moments. A massive boost in power. Reopening my interface, I check out my taunt skill. I pick this one up back in the Frost Tomb. It forces every single mob within a 100-meter radius to target me. Combined with Bone Spike Fury, it's pretty much a total monster grinding machine. That combination is the sole reason I ground out 2 billion points today. Can't mess with that one. Next, I check out Bone Spike Fury. Dishing back 25% of damage is my main weapon. As of right now, without it, I'd just be a beefy tank with 0 bite, able to absorb hits but never strike back. Even more off-limits is Healing Boost. Recovering 1% of my max HP every second is the core baseline keeping me alive at all. Without that, even a massive health pool eventually drains. All 3 of my passives are non-negotiable. Not a single one can be scrapped. I stowed the furnace stone inside my space ring. I can always clear more rifts down the road. If I track down a worthless skill reward somewhere, I can smelt it down to buff one of these 3. The second and third passives are solid enough for now. So if I'm upgrading anything, I'll focus on the first one first. Once that's maxed, I'll move to the second, then the third. Glancing up at the sky, the sun is hitting its peak, likely around 11 or noon. I spent a full 24 hours inside that rift, yet only a single hour slipped by out here. If commuting takes an hour, and running a rift takes another, I could still smash 5 more rifts today. With a thought, my flying vehicle spawns from my ring, its silvery white frame gleaming under the sun. I put the furnace stone away, and bring up the vehicle's holographic map. Surrounding Night City, there are still 2 level 10 rifts remaining, Inferno Hell and Shadow Maze. But both thresholds have people camping right outside. Association members, the military, and the Sioux clan. All 3 factions are just loitering there, waiting for me to pull up. No sweat, let him sweat it out. I pull back the map to show the whole nation. There are 218 unowned rifts under level 10, all scattered throughout the Badlands. The nearest group of them is located somewhere between 800 and 2,000 kilometers outside of Night City. I skim through and select 5 within a decent range, pinning their exact spots. 1 is 850 kilometers northeast. 1 is 1,100 kilometers straight north. Another 1,300 kilometers northwest. 1,500 kilometers due west. And one last one at 1,700 kilometers southwest. The path loops around nicely, bringing me right back toward Night City. At the tail end, I shut the map and crank up the engine. The silver-white chassis rockets skyward, bursting straight through the cloud cover. First rift is 850 kilometers out, a 35-minute trip. I lean back in my seat, watching the clouds streak past the window, while mulling over everything the old guy just dropped on me. Tier 1 worlds, Tier 2 worlds, Tier 3 worlds, Second Awakenings, Third Awakenings, Epic Gear, Mythic Gear, Eternal Gear, and that Star of Blood and Flame. Just a pack of freaks who treat slavery like a game. I shut my eyes and take a breath. No use rushing this. First, I wipe out all 218 rifts. 35 minutes later, the ship begins to decelerate. Right below me lies a massive, snow-dusted mountain range, with peaks wrapped in eternal ice, gleaming blindingly under the sun. This is Rift CN 0612, the frozen abyss, my second run of the day. I touch down in a mountain basin, pack the vehicle away, and trek the rest of the distance. 10 minutes later, I spot the anomaly. A frozen canyon mouth blocked by massive ice sheets, with endless corpses trapped deep within the freeze. Both humans and monsters, some completely unrecognizable. They're locked in the exact positions they perished in. A few mid-stride, others down on one knee. several with their heads thrown back and jaws wide open, trapped in a soundless shriek. A synthesized voice echoes inside my head. Welcome to the frozen abyss. Level restriction, under 10. Runtime, 41 years. Total entries, roughly 83. Survivors, 0. An hour and 10 minutes after stepping onto the ice, I trudge back out, completely covered in frost shards. My hair and eyebrows have gone completely white, making me look like a popsicle straight out of the freezer. Behind me, the icy canyon starts caving in. Frozen blocks come crashing down one by one, until the whole place collapses with a final thud. I dust the frost off my gear and pull up my status window. Congratulations on conquering Rift CN 06. 12. Frozen Abyss Clear Rewards. Select one of the following 4 passive abilities. Ice Armor, passive. 10% trigger chance upon taking damage to create a frozen shield that mitigates 50% damage from the next 3 incoming strikes. Duration, 10 seconds. Cooldown, 30 seconds. Frost Breath, active exhale a cloud. A freezing fog. Inflicting 50,000 ice damage per second for 5 seconds. Range, 20 meters. Cooldown, 10 minutes. Frost Step, active teleport 50 meters forward in a blink, leaving a freezing pathway for 10 seconds. That reduces the movement speed of any enemy on it by 50%. Cooldown 5 minutes. Extreme Cold Resistance, passive. Grants 80% immunity against ice damage, along with a 5% chance to stun freeze any assailant using ice-based attacks for 3 seconds. I review the choices one by one. First up, Ice Armor. Tanking half the damage for 3 hits. Honestly, sounds pretty neat. But defense happens to be the one thing I'm absolutely loaded on right now. Plus, a 10% proc rate is way too low to genuinely bank on, considering my HP bars already doing a solid job of keeping me breathing. Option 2, Frost Breath. 50k damage every second for a 5-second duration. That's 250k overall, but given my current level, that's honestly pocket change. Just my passive reflect damage alone puts out hundreds of thousands with every single hit. Third, Frost Step. A 50-meter dash that applies a slow effect. Somewhat useful, I guess, but nothing crazy. Besides, I got my taunt skill ready, which drags the mobs right to me. There's no reason for me to go chasing anyone. Fourth choice, Extreme Cold Resistance. An 80% damage reduction against ice. Now, this one actually looks promising. My health pool is absolutely massive right now, but my elemental defenses are basically non-existent. If I ever cross paths with a boss specializing purely in magical elemental bursts, it won't kill me, but it'll be a massive pain. That 80% ice immunity pretty much guarantees that any frost-based enemy attacks won't feel like anything more than a scratch from here on out. Plus, the best part is that final perk. A 5% probability to freeze any ice attacker flat for 3 seconds. That's a pretty sweet deal, honestly. A 5% chance isn't mind-blowing, but since it's a passive, it requires 0 effort on my part. It just handles business automatically. After weighing my options, I lock in the 4th choice. I'll sit on this passive ability for the time being, and if a sudden crisis forces me to upgrade one of my alternative passive traits down the line, I can always salvage and melt this one down later. System, you have chosen the Extreme Cold Resistance passive. System, acquired 80% damage mitigation against ice. System, 5% odds to inflict freeze on an ice elemental attacker for 3 seconds. A fresh status line updates on my interface as a freezing wave of raw energy ripples through my veins, just briefly before it disappears. I have a good stretch, then make my way back to the ride. The next rift is straight north, 1,100 kilometers out. 40 minutes later, I hit my 3rd rift of the day. The ship touches down on a dark, gravelly plain. It's a total wasteland, nothing but dark stones with an odd metallic gleam, clinking in the breeze like miniature bells. After tracking for 20 minutes, I spot the rift. A massive portal of black stone, 30 meters high and 20 meters across, etched with twisted symbols radiating a pure, dark light rather than a crimson one. It looks like it's absorbing light instead of emitting it. Skeletons are strewn all over the place. Some are crumbled to dust, others completely whole, hedged by discarded weapons, armor, and rings popping out against the dark terrain. That voice inside my head chimes in. Welcome to Blackstone Hell. Level cap, under 10. Lifespan, 53 years. Total challengers, roughly 76. Survivors, 0. I shove the door open. An hour and 7 minutes passed. I step back out completely drenched in dark soot. My gear is trashed, and my face is streaked black and white. resembling a collier who just crawled from a pit. The gateway behind me shatters, those dark symbols fading away for good. I dust myself off and pop open the interface. Congrats on conquering Rift CN 06. 27. Blackstone Hell cleared. Reward. Select one of these 4 abilities. Blackstone Shield, active. Evokes stone shards around you for 30 seconds. Each shard nullifies 1 attack, up to 10 hits. Max 1 hour cooldown. Gravity Suppression, active. Unleashes a 50-meter gravity zone centered on your position, cutting down all nearby enemies' movement by 70%, and slicing their attack speed by 50% for 10 seconds. 30-minute cooldown. Shadow Step, active. Fade right into the dark and turn completely invisible for up to 10 minutes. Striking someone or taking damage will break the concealment. 1 hour cooldown. Blackstone Golem, active. Summon a powerhouse golem to fight alongside you for 10 minutes. Attributes. 1 million HP. 100,000 attack power. Equipped with heavy strike and taunt skills. 2 hour cooldown. Let's look over these. First up, Blackstone Shield. Blocks 10 incoming hits with a full 1 hour cooldown. For a tank with a massive health pool like mine, surviving just 10 hits is practically pointless. I tank thousands of strikes in a single brawl, so 10 won't even scratch the surface. Second, Gravity Suppression and AoE crowd control slow. Awesome utility for group encounters. But I always run solo and already have taunt baseline. This is a pass for me. Third option, Shadow Step. Now this one catches my eye. 10 whole minutes of stealth. If I pop this right before stepping out of a dungeon rift, nobody camping outside will spot me when I exit. And even when that portal collapses behind me, they'll still be completely clueless. Fourth, Blackstone Golem. The stats seem decent on paper for a level 10 rift. A cool million HP and 100,000 attack. But the kinds of mobs I'm dealing with lately dish out millions of damage per swing. Summoning this guy out there would just be sending him straight to the slaughterhouse. After weighing my choices, I lock in the third option. You have chosen Shadow Step, active. Skill acquired. Instantly melt into the darkness, gaining total invisibility for a 10-minute duration. Attacking a target or taking a hit cancels the stealth effect. 1 hour cooldown. A fresh skill icon pops up right on my action bar. I lock in and instantly fade away. Totally gone, without even a shadow left behind. Looking down at my own hand, I see absolutely nothing. I wave it right in front of my face, still nothing. Taking a step forward, my stride doesn't make a single sound. It's like walking on cotton. Dropping the invisibility, I show up again, a smirk faintly tugging at the corner of my mouth. Sweet skill. Time to head back to the ride for the next one. 50 minutes later, the craft touches down in a stretch of red desert. My fourth rift encounter today. The sand around here is blood red, and the wind stirs up a crimson dust that colors the entire sky a dark burgundy. Off in the distance, monolithic stone pillars tower over the dunes, resembling the wreckage of some ancient society. I trek for an hour before finally tracking down the rift. A massive pyramid, easily 200 meters tall, constructed out of blood-red masonry. On its facade is a stone portal carved with a giant eye. Crying bloody tears, skeletal remains litter the ground. Hundreds of them at the very least. Some are still draped in shredded clothes. Others are still clad in armor. All of them popping starkly against the crimson sand. The voice rings out, "Welcome to the Blood Sand Labyrinth." City entry cap, under level 10. Lifespan, 67 years. Total entrance, roughly 107. Survivors, 0. I shove the heavy door open. An hour and 15 minutes later, I exit the pyramid dripping with sweat. My clothes completely drenched. It was a total sauna inside there. I seriously thought I'd get boiled alive. Behind me, the monument begins to implode, blood-red bricks collapsing piece by piece, until nothing remains but a pile of debris. Wiping off the sweat, I pull up my status panel. Congrats on conquering Rift CN 06. 41. Blood Sand Labyrinth City, clear rewards. Pick one out of these 4 skills. Blood Sand Fury, passive for every 10% of HP dropped. Your raw attack power climbs by 20%, stacking up to 5 times max. Meaning, ditching 50% HP grants a massive 100% attack buff. Sand Stealth, active melt right into the sand instantly. And navigate underground for a full 30 seconds. You're completely immune to physical strikes during this, though you can't attack anyone either. Cooldown, 30 minutes. Blood Sacrifice, active. Burn 10% of your current HP pool to inflict damage equal to 200% of that sacrifice life on all targets within a 50-meter radius. Cooldown, 10 minutes. Sandstorm Eye, active. Drop a sandstorm eye at a designated spot. That rages continuously for 60 seconds, dishing out 20,000 damage per second to caught enemies, while slashing their overall accuracy by 30%. Cooldown, 1 hour. I look over all the choices. First up, Blood Sand Fury. Pretty solid for regular players. But my total HP pool is just way too massive. Losing half my health means burning through over 1 trillion hit points. No mob I've run into can hit me anywhere near that hard. And since my main damage comes from reflection stats anyway, a simple attack multiplier doesn't do much for me. Second option, Sand Stealth. Half a minute of subterranean movement. Totally safe from physical damage. Sounds decent, but it's only good for escaping. And I've already got invisibility covers for that. Seems kind of pointless. Third, Blood Sacrifice. Wait, let me pause right here. Sacrificing 10% of my current health to unload 200% of that value as raw damage to every single thing within 50 meters. My current max HP is sitting at 31 trillion. 10% of that clocks in at 3.1 trillion. Double that amount for damage yields 6.2 trillion, blasting everything in a 50-meter radius. Honestly, this one is pretty sweet. My damage reflection is strictly passive, so I can't use it to throw the first punch. But this right here is an active skill, meaning I finally have a way to make the first move, instead of just sitting around to get hit. The only catch is burning 10% of my current health. Sure, 3.1 trillion sound insane, but with my passive healing cranking out 1% per second, I'll top that right back up in a mere 10 seconds. Taking a breath, I lock in the third option. Without a second thought, you've chosen Blood Sacrifice. Active skill unlocked. Consume 10% of current HP to inflict damage, equal to 200% of the sacrificed health, to all hostile targets within 50 meters. Cooldown, 10 minutes. A crimson skill icon pops up on my interface. I lock my eyes on it for a moment, and then a slow smirk spreads across my face. Now, I've finally got a tool to dish out damage on my own terms. I shut the status menu and head back to my ride. 40 minutes later, I arrive at my 5th rift of the day. The vehicle touches down right in a swampland. The entire place is nothing but muck and stagnant water, with the atmosphere completely heavy with decay. Withered trees tilt in every direction, smothered in black mold. Gas bubbles burst across the murky surface, each one releasing an extra wave of foul stench. I slog through the sludge for about half an hour before spotting the rift, a massive swamp whirlpool, spanning a good 100 meters across, featuring a jet-black void right in the center that looks totally bottomless. The water swirling around the perimeter is a toxic green, littered with floating, swollen corpses, human fiends, and some I can't even place, with a few already decayed right to the bone. A voice rings out, "Welcome to the putrid swamp. Level cap, under 10. Time elapsed, 72 years. Total entries, roughly 158. Survivors, 0. I take a deep breath and instantly regret that move. Plugging my nose, I dive straight into the vortex. An hour and 8 minutes later, I drag myself out, utterly drenched in green muck. Weeds are tangled in my hair, and my gear is coated in nasty gunk I don't even want to identify. I reek so bad it literally makes me gag. Behind me, the vortex begins to shrink and vanishes with a soft pop, leaving nothing behind but a placid mire. Finding a clean pool, I rinse off and pull up my menu. Congrats on clearing Rift CN 06532. 53. The Putrid Swamp. Rewards. Select one of these 4 abilities. Toxic Corrupted Body. Passive. A 20% chance to poison foes upon taking physical hits, inflicting 10,000 DPS for a 10-second duration. Stacking Healing Touch. Active. Channel restorative energy from both hands, recovering 10% max HP for yourself or a teammate. Cooldown, 30 minutes. Teleportation. Active. Blink instantly to a designated spot, up to 1,000 meters away. Castable during combat. Cooldown, 1 hour. Swamp Domain. Active. Manifeste à sommeta marchand aura. Centered on you, lasting for 30 seconds. It slows trapped enemies by 80% and deals 20,000 acid damage per second. I'll look through the options first. Toxic Corrupted Body. Honestly, 10,000 DPS is pretty much peanuts against the kind of mobs I'm fighting these days. Most of them have millions of health points. Poisoning a target for an entire minute hardly does any damage. Next, Healing Touch recovers 10% max HP. But my passive skill already ticks for 1% every second. So hitting 10% only takes 10 seconds anyway. Sure, an active skill could save my skin in a pinch, but it's just not as reliable as my passive. Option 3. Teleportation. My eyes immediately lock onto this one. Blink instantly up to 1,000 meters away. Can be used mid-fight. 1 hour cooldown. A dozen different scenarios flash through my mind. All at once. Getting cornered at a rift exit and just vanishing. Getting completely swarmed by high-level mobs. And just warping straight out of the brawl. Running into a boss I can't handle. And phasing away to a safe distance. Combined with my invisibility, I could disengage or take a fight whenever I want. 1,000 meters is plenty of space to lose. Pretty much anyone chasing me. Inhaling deeply, I select the third option. Selection confirmed. Teleportation active skill acquired. Instantly warp to a designated spot within 1,000 meters. Usable during combat. Cooldown, 1 hour. I focus my mind and poof, I'm gone. A split second later, I'm standing atop a small hill a kilometer away. Glancing back, the exact patch of ground I just left is now a tiny speck in the distance. I smirk. This skill is a literal lifesaver. Jogging back to my ride, I chart a course for the next spot. 45 minutes down the road. I pull up to my 6th rift of the day. The vehicle touches down inside a stone forest. Bizarre rock formations litter the landscape. Some look human, others resemble beasts, and a few look like tightly packed trees. The pillars are etched with cryptic emblems of suns, crescent moons, eyes, hands, and some other symbols I just can't decipher. I navigate through the rocky woods for a solid half hour, before finally spotting the rift. A massive stone circle formed by 12 pillars, each standing 50 meters high and etched with warped ruins. Right at the center, a dark void is radiating a bizarre, creepy vibe. Then a voice speaks up. Welcome to the Stone Forest Labyrinth. Level cap, under 10. Time active, 48 years. Total entries, roughly 97. Survivors, 0. I take a step into the ring. An hour and 12 minutes later, I stroll back out with my hair looking like a total mess, drenched in dust and looking pretty worse for wear, yet carrying a sharp, intense gleam in my eyes. Behind me, those monoliths start to collapse one after another, crumbling entirely down into a heap of rubble. I dust myself off and pop open my status screen. Congrats on conquering Rift CN06. 6-8. The Stone Forest Labyrinth. Your reward. Select one of these 4 passive skills. Stone Skin, passive. Grants a permanent 10% boost to defense, plus a 1% probability to completely negate any attack. Petrifying Gaze, active. Lock eyes on a target for a 30% shot at turning them to stone. For 3 seconds. Has a 5-minute cooldown. Stone Substitute, passive activates automatically. Whenever you are about to take a fatal blow, a stone replica will take the hit for you instead, leaving you clinging to life with 1 HP. Has a 24-hour cooldown. Stone Forest Blessing, passive while on rocky terrain. Your movement speed is boosted by 50%, and your health regeneration rate jumps by 100%. I scan the 4 choices with a slight frown on my face. First up, Stone Skin. Grants a 10% defense buff and a minor block chance, but I depend on pure HP to tank hits, so boosting defense doesn't really do it for me. Plus, a 1% block chance is way too low to rely on. Next, Petrifying Gaze. A 30% shot at turning a foe to stone for 3 seconds. Too bad it only targets 1 enemy at a time. Most of the brawls I'm in pack hundreds or even thousands of mobs at once, so this just won't cut it. Third choice, Stone Standing. Let me check this out. Whenever I'm about to take a lethal blow, it procs automatically, leaving me with exactly 1 HP. Instead of wiping out. 24-hour cooldown. This could literally save my skin in a tight spot. What if I run into some overpowered monster? Freak that can one-shot me for trillions of damage? When that happens, this skill becomes my ultimate insurance policy. A 24-hour cooldown means it's a once-a-day thing. But that single proc is all I need to survive a hit. That absolutely should have killed me. I pause for a moment, then lock in the third option. You have selected Stone Standing. Passive acquired. Automatically activates upon taking fatal damage, preserving your life at 1 HP instead. Cooldown, 24 hours. A gray statue icon pops up on my HUD. I eyeball it for a sec, then close out the menu. Checking the time, it's already 8 p.m. Guess it's time to head back to Night City. By the time I make it back to the inn, the night is well underway. Not that night means a whole lot of Night City, since the stone ceiling above always stays the same shade of dull gray, while the neon signs never stop blinking. Even so, the streets have emptied out quite a bit. The guild folks, the military squad, and those Sioux family operatives have all hit up the local bars for a few drinks. and late-night cravings. I step into the tavern. The old clerk behind the desk is snoozing, as per usual. He peeks an eye open when the door creaks. Sees it's just some ordinary-looking, middle-aged dude booking a room, and immediately drifts right back off. I make my way upstairs, enter my quarters, and shut the door. My coat is totally drenched in a nasty combination of odors from 6 different dungeons today. Frost, flames, sand, and swampland, all fused together into a pretty repulsive stench. I rip it off and dump it straight into the garbage. Wash up real quick, and then grab a fresh outfit from my storage ring to change into. Perching on the mattress, I take a breather and pull up my status window, staring at the massive block of traits I've accumulated. It honestly feels surreal. Name: Sulin, concealed. Level 10. HP: 31 trillion. Base 1, 000 x 100 million plus gear x 30,000. 000 by 100 million. ATK: 2,000. Base 1,000 plus ring 1,000. Power Surge multiplies max HP by 100 million. Passive 1, Recovery Boost. HP tier restores 1% of max HP every second. Passive 2, Ossified Spike. Wrath counters by reflecting 25% of received damage to the aggressor. Passive 3, Aggro Bait, forces every mob within a 100-meter radius to target me with absolute aggression. Passive 4, Glacial Immunity, 80% resistance to frost damage, 5% chance to freeze ice-type attackers for 3 seconds. Passive 5, Stone Stand, activates instantly upon taking lethal damage, clinging on at 1 HP, 24-hour cooldown. Active 1, Veil Walk, grants stealth for 10 minutes, cancels upon striking or taking damage. 1 hour cooldown triggered. Active 2, Blood Sacrifice, trade 10% of current HP to inflict double that amount as AoE damage within a 50-meter radius. 10-minute cooldown. Active 3, Teleportation, blink instantly up to 1,000 meters, usable during battle. 1 hour cooldown. Gear: Invisible Mask, unique high-grade spatial ring, 1,000 cubic meters capacity. Score: 520 million. Glancing at my 3 active abilities as slow smirk forms. Shadow Step is the ultimate getaway move. Teleportation is an even crazier escape option. And Blood Sacrifice? Finally, a solid way to output raw damage on my own terms. So here's the game plan. I pop Taunt, stand dead center in a mob swarm, let them chew on me, and watch them drop from reflect damage. If an enemy refuses to aggro onto me, I'll just unleash a Blood Sacrifice for 6.2 trillion damage. Plus, if I ever cross paths with a boss I seriously can't handle, I'll just cloak up, blink away, swap out my look, and pop back up in a completely different spot. No one would ever guess where I wrapped up, even if I somehow get blindsided or take a hit that's supposed to drop me. Stone Standing triggers, instantly tanking the lethal blow. Then I can instantly ghost and warp out of there before anyone can even process what just went down. Flawless, I whisper to myself. Right then, an alert pops up across my interface. Breaking news: 6 level 10 rifts in the Lawless Zone, cleared consecutively. Highly suspected to be the work of Solo Hunter. Blinking in surprise, I click it open. Official statement from the Rift Management Bureau. Between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. today, 6 level 10 rifts nationwide have officially shut down. One right after another. CN 0612, The Frozen Abyss. CN 0627, Blackstone Hell. CN 0641, Bloods in Labyrinth City. CN 0653, The Putrid Swamp. CN 06 minus 68, The Stone Forest Labyrinth. And CN 05 minus 71, The Sandstorm Death Zone. Combined, these 6 rifts had active histories spanning 325 years and took 568 lives, leaving 0 survivors until today, when a single person conquered and sealed every last one. This marks the absolute first time in our country's history that a lone individual has shut down multiple rifts, back to back, released for public awareness. Man, the comment sections are already blowing up. What the hell? 6 of them in one day. Like 568 people perished in there, and she just wiped out every single one? Gotta be that mystery chick. The one for Night City. Wait. But didn't Night City still have 2 rifts remaining? Why'd she travel all the way to the unclaimed zone? Are you stupid? 3 separate factions are currently camping outside Night City's rifts, obviously. No wonder she hit up the unclaimed zone instead. 6 rifts in a day? What kind of beast is this? Roughly an hour and a half per rift, if you do the math. Meaning she dives in, clears it out, pops back out, and flies to the next one, 0 downtime. Does she even take breaks? You just wouldn't get the life of a top-tier pro. My only burning question left is, who actually is she? Someone in the comments quietly drops a photo. It's a shot of me from Dragon City Academy, captioned, "You'll already know." The reply skyrockets straight to the top, clearing over 1 million likes. I stare at the picture of myself, my face completely blank. Just let him keep guessing for now. Meanwhile, back in Night City, the guild, officials, and troops are still shouting into the masses, while the Su family, scouts keep filtering through the streets. Shin Jojo is standing by the window of a makeshift HQ, holding his phone and staring at the updates. He stays quiet for a long beat, before turning to researcher Joe behind him, uttering a single word, 6. Researcher Joe fixes his glasses, with a slight tremor in his voice. "Chairman, what's that mean?" Shin Jojo replies deliberately. "It means we're still seriously lowballing her." 6 rifts cleared in one day. Every single one took out dozens, even hundreds of people before she came along. Yet she just dives in, walks out, and hits the next one right after. Nobody de whatsoever. Her true power is way beyond anything we ever dreamed of. Researcher Joe gulps hard. "So who on earth is she?" Shin Jojo doesn't give an answer. Instead, he gazes out the window, looking totally conflicted. No matter who she is, he finally mutters, "She's mankind's best shot." Meanwhile, at the Su clan's outpost, an operative rushes inside to pass a device to a middle-aged guy, seated at the front of the room. He's a right-hand man to Su Jin Tion, a level 70 named Sien, who's running this entire manhunt. Sien checks the feed, and his face drops. 6. He gets to his feet, paces back and forth before halting. "Deploy more boots on the ground to the lawless zone. I want eyes on every single level 10 rift portal. There's no way she can stay off the grid forever." The operative hesitates. "Sir, the unclaimed zone is massive, and there's so many rifts. Our manpower won't." "Then hire more." Shin snaps. The family head said himself. "Bring her back, dead or alive. It doesn't matter. Points aren't an issue." The spy nods, understood. At military command, General Zhang sits in his chair, reading the same news, grinning ear to ear. Good. Good, good. He slaps his knee. 6 rifts in one single day. This little girl is something else. An aide beside him says quietly, "General Chairman, Jins, people are asking if we should deploy our own forces too." "Deploy what?" General Jean shoots him a look. "She's clearing 6 rifts a day, specifically because she doesn't want to be found, while we send people to get in her way." He stands and walks to the window. "We just wait. Once she's done clearing, she'll show herself eventually." Sunday, 7 a.m. A massive crowd gathers in front of the tower. To heaven and heaven. Dome City. Today, Su Jin Tian attempts to clear floor 89. If he succeeds, he'll become the first level 90 powerhouse in human history. His family watches from the platform. His wife, Lin Wan Xin, holding back tears, his daughters, Su Yao, Su Ling, and Su Xiao Xiao, cheering him on, and his son, Su Chun, looking up at him with admiration and worry. Representatives from major families. The Wang family, the Yi family, the Zhou family. The onlookers spectate with a blend of emotions. Wang Tian Gang remains completely expressionless, mentioning to an aide that Su Jin Tian wouldn't take this gamble, unless he was certain of a win. Close by, a subordinate asks Yi Wushuang if Su Jin Tian is actually going to pull it off. Yi Wushuang claims he will, noting Su Jin Tian spent a decade prepping, just to hit level 90, all to deal with that specific guy. Yi Wushuang figures out he's talking about Su Lin. He murmurs that it's a real pity. Such a pity. A prodigy like Su Lin is Su Jintian's own flesh and blood. And it's messed up that a dad like Su Jintian is out to take down his own boy. Right at 7:30, the massive, glowing gateway to the tower powers up. Su Jintian bids his family farewell and steps inside. The crowd waits on pins and needles, while the portal remains pitch black for a whole hour. Suddenly, it bursts back to life. Su Jintian emerges covered in blood, his gear shredded and a nasty gash cutting across his chest. Yet he's breathing. He successfully conquered floor 89, making history as the first human to reach level 90. The onlookers go wild as journalists rush forward. Wang Tiangang watches on with a complicated look, before slipping away quietly with his crew. Su Jintian's family runs over to hold him tight. He gazes up at the sky with a blend of pure exhaustion, thrill, immense pride, and a cryptic emotion buried underneath it all. Meanwhile, deep space away from their home world, out in the boundless vacuum, a colossal, crimson orb spins sluggishly. The planet of blood and embers. a Tier 2 realm roughly 100 times larger than Earth, drowned completely in seas of molten lava. At its apex hovers a dark, levitating fortress, where the blood flame king stares into a crystal ball, displaying Su Genshin's moment of victory. Level 89 is cleared, the king states bluntly. His underlings, a dozen incredibly terrifying fighters, burst out laughing, with a red-headed thug noting that another Tier 1 world is ready for the picking, and they'll soon have a fresh playground to strip bare. Suddenly, the crystal balls display switches to raw metrics. Earth's tower advancement. Floor 89 has hit the benchmark for an invasion. Total rift count, 3,278. Conquered rifts, 25. With irregularities flagged, including an unidentified level 10 powerhouse, who has single-handedly closed 8 rifts, 6 of them within just one 24-hour window. The room goes dead silent. A seductive female lieutenant asks if the statistics are flawed. The king reviews past archives, spanning 100,000 years across 8,724 Tier 1 worlds. Roughly 3.2 million people have managed to clear a rift, completely solo. A mere 97 have ever beaten 2, and not a single soul in documented history has ever conquered 3 or more. Yet this nameless entity has finished 8, 6 in a single day. The king is visibly rattled. He warns his crew that a freak anomaly like this, if left to evolve and ultimately hit level 100, to breach a Tier 2 world, would absolutely never submit to slavery. The red-haired brute scoffs at the danger, claiming even their weakest guy could flatten a basic level 10. The king instantly shoots back. If that's the case, how did a level 10 wrap up 8 rifts that slaughtered every other SSS rank prodigy who ever tried them? The king resolves to dispatch a small squad through the space-time portal to track down and eliminate this target. Right before that command gets executed, his daughter, Shui Wei, cuts right in. She's around 17 or 18, rocking a fiery red outfit, and sports the exact same blood-red eyes as her old man. She dead-set insists on handling this herself, not merely to take out the target, but mostly out of pure curiosity, vibing with the idea of bagging this person, to serve as her own personal slave and fighter instead. The king gives in reluctantly, telling her to take a tracking compass along. He says to draft the target as a servant if possible, or just kill him if not, warning her not to treat this like a game. Totally hyped, Shui Wei heads out, with that red-haired brute, and the seductive woman following behind. The king calls out a reminder. The dimensional teleportation array takes time to prep, so they'll have to wait until tomorrow morning to take off. Shui Wei agrees and rolls out to bide her time. I finally open my eyes, not because I was slacking, but because hitting 6 rifts back-to-back yesterday completely wiped me out. Out there, the streets of Night City are way quieter than yesterday. The guild members and military folks are still hanging around, but they sound totally drained, shouting with zero enthusiasm. On the flip side, the Su family spies are much sharper now, huddling in groups at the street corners, scanning every single passerby like a hawk. I let out a yawn and check my phone. The absolute top trending headline. Mind-blowing. Suhyun successfully clears Floor 89. The very first level 90 powerhouse in human history is born. The comments section has already blown past 1 million, packed with people hailing him as the strongest man alive, and wondering if I'll stay in hiding, now that my dad has officially hit level 90, since taking me out would apparently be like squashing a tiny bug to him. I skimmed through the whole thing, completely blank-faced and stone-cold, before killing the power on my phone and sitting upright, rolling my neck. Those 2 rifts right outside Night City, Inferno Hell and Shadow Maze, are still completely surrounded by all 3 factions, just waiting to ambush me like prey. They're banking on the idea that the mysterious lady won't have the guts to pull up, while they've got so many eyes on the gates. But I'm no fool. I couldn't gamble on it earlier, but things are different now. I've got invisibility and teleportation on my side. Stepping out of the tavern, I duck into a deserted alleyway to swap my appearance, transforming this time into a lady in her late 50s. I've got silver hair and wrinkles deep enough to crush a bug, bent completely double like a shrimp, and shuffling along on fragile, unsteady legs. Honestly, anyone would think a slight breeze could knock her flat. I push westward, charting a course for Inferno Hell. Following a grueling hour-long trek, I finally make it. The earth around here is burnt pitch black, scarred with deep fissures radiating intense heat, while a massive volcano dominates the skyline ahead, its summit radiating a sinister dark crimson. Dozens of base camps are set up around the bottom. The Association, the military, and the Sioux clan with each group sticking strictly to their own zones. Soldiers are keeping watch, shooting the breeze, or napping in chairs. Right beside the crater's edge yawned a massive fissure, its perimeter glowing red-hot like molten metal, the threshold to inferno hell itself. I carefully assessed the layout from a safe distance. Roughly 20 association goons commanded by a level 50, about 20 troops marshaled by a much hardier level 55, and a smaller Sioux family presence, maybe 12 or so, though their captain is sitting at a hefty level 63. Sentries are stationed right at the threshold, staring dead into the abyss without so much as blinking. I sneak into a patch of withered trees nearby, ensure nobody has eyes on me, and trigger Shadow Step. I disappear instantly, gazing downward. I can't even see my hands. Moving forward, 10 minutes of pure silence is plenty of time. I head straight for the entryway, just as I sneak past the trio of guards. That level 60 powerhouse from the Sioux clan suddenly tenses up. He scowls, throwing a sharp glance right toward my exact spot. I freeze dead in my tracks. He glares for a couple of seconds, then just shrugs it off and slumps back into his seat. Everything good? One of the association guys chimes in. It's nothing. Swore I felt a presence. The Sioux elite mutters. Probably just a breeze. I slip right past him and plunge into the rift. A crimson flash erupts, and I'm gone. An hour down the line, the rift violently convulses. Everyone instantly springs to their feet. What's going on? Is the thing imploding? This rift has been stable for 30 years. How could it just... Before anyone can even finish, the anomaly rips open wider and wider, then vanishes entirely with a resounding boom. It leaves behind nothing but a completely unblemished mountain wall. Not a single mark remains. Total silence falls. Everyone stands there, completely dumbfounded, frozen like mannequins. The level 60 elite is the first to snap out of it. Someone slipped inside, and they cleared the whole dungeon. Where the hell are they? Did they make it out? No one saw a single soul exit. That makes no sense. If the rift collapsed, they've got to be around here somewhere. Search the perimeter. They start tearing the place apart, upturning soil and checking under every single rock. Nothing. Not a trace of anyone. I'm taking all this in from behind a small ridge. About 100 meters off, I popped my cloaking skill. The exact moment I exited the portal. Since I spent 11 hours in there, my shadow step cooldown had finished ages ago. Then I just strolled over here to watch the whole breakdown, keeping my distance. I've only got like 3 minutes of stealth left. I pivot and make a break for Shadow Maze. It's 42 clicks south, a solid half-hour trek later. I arrive at my second rift of the day. The vibe here is completely different. Just a thick black stone forest. Boulders of all sizes are crammed tightly together, with a gray mist weaving through the cracks. You can't see past 10 meters. Right in the middle stands a colossal stone gateway, etched with twisted runes radiating a pure black glow. Camps are pitched here as well. The association military, the Sioux clan, everyone's here. Their commanders are around the same levels as the last bunch. Time to pop invisibility again. But I'll be smarter this time. I skirt around the perimeter of the crowd, rather than cutting straight through, approaching the gateway from the flank. The 3 sentries are totally glued to the front, never guessing anyone would sneak in from the side. I slide right past them and slip inside. A blinding flash, and 50 minutes later, the stone door crumbles, sending the crowd back into a frenzy. What the hell? Not this crap again. Where's the guy? Did they even make it out? Nobody saw a thing, I swear. Search. Comb through the whole stone forest. They start running around like headless chickens again, while I track them from behind a rock pillar. 200 meters out. Stealth is ticking down to 4 minutes. I turn around and melt right into the fog. By the time they actually check behind that pillar, there's absolutely nobody to find. The Night City boards are going nuts right now. People are losing their minds. 2 rifts completely beaten back-to-back in under 2 hours, with 3 entire guilds, keeping watch at every single doorway. Yet nobody caught a single glimpse. Rumors are swirling about stealth abilities, but someone mentions that even if she were cloaked, those sentries should have still felt her slip right past, which has the comments section absolutely trashing. Those 3 worthless level 60 guards. In particular, that pro from the Sioux family at Inferno. Hell goes dead pale, staring blankly at the flat rock wall, where the gateway used to stand. His hands shake. No way. No freaking way. I was watching the entire time. Nobody slipped in, and nobody came out. A guild mate beside him mutters under his breath. What if she didn't use the actual entrance at all? Didn't use the entrance? That's literally the only way inside a rift. I mean, maybe she's got another trick like blinking. The Sioux family pro freezes. Teleportation, if she can just warp. Directly from the heart of the rift to somewhere outside. then obviously nobody would ever spot her. His face turns completely white. He whips out his phone and punches in a number. Old Shin, we've got a massive problem. Meanwhile, I'm chilling back at the peace inn, kicking back on my mattress, checking out the headlines with a smug little smirk. 2 rifts completely conquered, one right after another, in under 20 minutes flat. Scores of players camped directly out front, and not a single soul noticed me. Combining stealth with teleportation. Man, it's just broken. I pull up my interface. Rifts cleared today. 2. Total rifts and instances cleared. 10. Unspent points, 530 million. It's still pretty early. I can definitely grind out a few more this afternoon. I roll over and pull up the national rift map. There are still 216 unclaimed rifts under level 10. I select 8 within a reasonable distance and pin their coordinates. Northeast, 900 kilometers, due north 1,200 kilometers, northwest 1,400 kilometers, and so forth. Looping back around toward Night City. Once I'm done, I get out of bed, head downstairs, and step outside. In the alley, I swap my face again, this time looking like a guy in his 30s. I deploy my flyer and blast straight up in the clouds. By 5 p.m., the Night City forums are completely blowing up. Rift after rift is being reported as cleared. CN 0701, CN 0, 712, CN 0, 723, all the way down the line to CN 07, 89. Eventually, the comment section just turns into rows of ellipses, because everyone is left completely speechless, including the 2 from this morning. That makes 10 rifts knocked out in a single day. 10 of them from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. 7 hours, 8 more rifts cleared, averaging 1 per hour. Every single one of those rifts had been around for decades, and had claimed dozens, if not hundreds, of lives. And I just stroll in, stroll out, and walk right back in like I'm browsing a grocery store. The Rift Management Bureau drops an official statement. Just a single line. Total rifts closed nationwide today. 10. A new single-day record. The identity of the hunter remains unknown. We are actively investigating. The comment section finally comes alive again. 10 rifts in one day. Dude, I think I know who it is. Same here, it's gotta be 11. 008. 6, y'all already know the deal. Over at the military base, General Young looks over the reports and falls into a long, tense silence. Before getting up to walk over to the window, 10 he whispers under his breath. His second-in-command inquires if they're still just waiting for her to come out of hiding. The general lets out a sharp, cynical laugh. Reveal herself? You really think she's gonna do that? If she wanted to be tracked down? She'd be caught by now. Smashing 10 rifts in a single day isn't something your average person can pull off. It's pretty obvious she's trying to stay off the grid. When the subordinate asks for their next move, he answers plainly, we wait. Whoever tracks her down first takes the prize. Meanwhile, over at the Sioux family headquarters, old Shuren is absolutely losing his mind, squeezing his phone so hard the screen literally cracks. 10-10, he demands a massive deployment of boots on the ground, stationed at every single rift entrance. And when his underling points out the fact that there are over 200 rifts scattered across the lawless zone, and their numbers are stretched way too thin, Shuren barks back to bring in mercenaries, bounty hunters, any desperate thug in Night City looking for quick buck. He growls to himself that no matter who this girl is, once the clan patriarch steps onto the field himself, at level 90, there's no running away. So that's what's happening out there. But as for where I actually am, around 7 o'clock that night, I make my way back into urban territory, rocking my low-profile, middle-aged guy camouflage, fading seamlessly into the sea of street hawkers and drunks, stumbling around and screaming at thin air. A guy selling masks takes a quick glance at my face, before turning right back to shouting for customers. Just a regular face lost in a regular crowd, completely impossible to spot 10 minutes later. Arriving at Peace Inn, the old clerk behind the desk can barely keep his eyes open before nodding right back off. I head upstairs to my room and click the door shut, tossing my jacket onto the bed. Then, I sit down and pull up my status panel. Name, Sulin Incognito. Level 10. HP, 31 trillion. ATK, 2000. Passive 1, Healing Boost. Regan's 1% max HP per second. Passive 2, Bone Spike Fury. Reflects 25% of incoming damage. Passive 3, Taunt. Aggroes all monsters within a 100-meter radius. Passive 4, Extreme Cold Resistance. Grants 80% ice immunity and a 5% freeze chance. Passive 5, Stone Standin'. Survives a fatal blow with 1 HP remaining. Cooldown, 24 hours. Active 1, Shadow Step. Grants invisibility. Cooldown 1 hour. Active 2, blood sacrifice. Consumes 10% HP to deal 200% AoE damage. Active 3, teleportation. Blinks up to 1,000 meters. Cooldown 1 hour. Unlocked today. Passive 6. Rock skin. Boosts defense by 10% and adds a 3% full block chance. Passive 7. Flame body. Provides 20% fire immunity and converts fire damage to healing. Passive 8. Shadow affinity. Increases speed and ATK by 20% in the dark. Passive 9. Lightning resistance. Grants 20% lightning immunity and a 10% paralysis chance. Passive 10. Poison resistance. Total poison immunity, regenerating 10,000 HP per second. Passive 11. Vampiricoha. Siphons 10,000 HP per second from nearby foes, turning it into health. Active 4. Earth tunnel. Allows stealthy movement underground. Duration 1 minute. Cooldown 30 minutes. Active 5. Flame burst. Deals 500,000 fire damage in a frontal cone. Cooldown 5 minutes. Active 6. Shadow strike. Teleports the hit for 1 million damage. Items with a 3-minute cooldown. Concealing mask, top tier void ring. Hearthstone X1, Sky Tower Pass X1. Score 530 million. I just gawk at this massive list for a good 10 seconds. That makes 17 abilities total, adding in my existing kit. Inhaling deeply, I retrieve the smelting stone. Its radiant golden engravings keep pulsing, feeling warm and vibrant in my hand. I inspect it for a moment, before picking out the trash skills. Stone skin is useless given my massive HP pool, and a 3% block rate is way too unreliable. Blaze body is decent, but I rarely go against fire monsters anyway. Plus my passive recovery already covers it. Shadow attunement is far too niche. It's not like I'm constantly fighting in pitch black. Thunder resistance is just a downgraded version of my current trait. Same with frost and venom resistance. Regenerating 10k per second is literally a joke. Next to my real healing numbers. Leech aura is equally pathetic. 10,000 points a second does absolutely nothing for me. Honestly, the 3 active skills are even lamer. Burrowing is pointless since I can already use stealth and blink. Fire blast deals a measly 500k damage, while my blood offering hits for 6.2 trillion. Shadow dash outputs 1 million damage. Still peanuts. Every single one of these 9 new abilities is pure dead weight. Taking a deep breath, I lock in. The smelting stone levitates, its golden etchings blazing fiercely. Select skills to smelt. I click through them sequentially. Stone skin blaze. Body, shadow attunement. Thunder resistance, venom resistance. Vampiric aura, earth tunnel. Flame burst, shadow strike. All 9 are chosen. Pick a passive skill to upgrade. My finger hovers over passive 1. Healing boost, recovering 1% max HP per second. This is easily my absolute crucial passive. The core foundation that keeps me alive through anything. I tap it, and the Hearthstone violently quakes. 9 individual beams of multicolored light burst straight out of my panel, pouring into the stone. The golden engravings flash erratically, making it look like the stone's about to explode. Suddenly, a pure ray of golden light shoots forward and slams directly right into my chest. My entire body shudders. The power is just insane. It doesn't hurt, but there's this intense pressure, as if something inside me is expanding, far too rapidly for my physical form to handle. Every single cell is trembling under the strain. This goes on for a solid 10 seconds before everything calms down. Opening my eyes, I take a look at my hands. They're still just the same normal hands. No obvious difference, but I can tell something's changed. Pulling up my interface, passive 1. Healing boost enhancement successful. Updated effect. Regenerates 10% of max HP every second. I stare blankly at that sentence for 3 whole seconds. 10%. 10% of 31 trillion equals 3.1 trillion. I'm literally regenerating 3.1 trillion health every single second now. A smirk hits my face. There's still over 200 rifts out there. If I dissolve another 90 worthless skill rewards, I could easily scale this healing passive all the way up to 100% per second. And then what? Could I max out my damage reflection to 100% as well? Could I boost my taunt radius from 100 meters all the way out to 10,000? Just how wild would my invisibility, teleportation, or blood sacrifice become if they were totally maxed out? Honestly, just the thought of it gets me hyped. I shut down the interface and summon another item out of my ring. A particular card grabbed as a prize from a past rift. The second I caught sight of its stats back then, I snatched it up without a single doubt. It fits right in my hand, a silvery white piece detailed with gold borders. The front side depicts a tower with 19 stories, each giving off a soft glow, while the flip side states, Heaven's Tower card, Tier 2 perk. Upon entering the structure, you can activate continuous gauntlet mode. Beating a single floor lets you instantly take on the next stage, without leaving. Maximum street caps at floor 19. Once floor 19 is cleared, an exit is mandatory and further progression is locked. Reading through this, I fall completely silent. Usually, the instance only permits a single entry per week, limiting your progress to just one floor per run. But utilizing this card, I can blitz through 10 floors straight, leaping directly from level 10 up to level 20, without having to bail out and wait around for the next weekly reset. Come 9 o'clock, the racket outside the tavern gets way too loud to disregard. I crack open the window to see what's up. Hero, hero, hero. The massive roaring hits me like a tidal wave, intense enough to make the glass rattle. The entire roadway is jammed, with neon lights flashing 10 times brighter than usual. Folks are brandishing DIY banners with slogans praising the hero and thanking their savior. Some are sobbing, others are laughing, while some are hugging random strangers and leaping with joy. Kebab sellers are handing out free food, shouting that everything tonight is on the house. Some booze merchant hauls out a dozen kegs and dumps them right in the middle of the street, shouting for everyone to drink on his dime. Folks grab bowls and down it without a second thought, then get right back to chanting hero, hero, hero. I watch for a moment, then draw the curtain and lie back down, listening to the racket outside, with a pretty blank look on my face. But on the inside, it's complicated. I know exactly who they're cheering for me. That mystery woman who closed 10 rifts in a single day. 4 of them right around Night City within 3 days. Those 4 rifts near here alone used to claim over 2,000 lives a year combined. That's at least 8,000 people who won't be dying this year, all because of what I pulled off over the last 3 days. 8,000 people alive because of me. I close my eyes and let out a slow breath. Outside, the chanting just keeps getting louder, echoing across the entirety of Night City. Every single street and corner is celebrating. Over in the East District, a steamed bun vendor stands outside her shop, clutching a sign that reads, "Long live the hero," tears streaming down her face, as she opens up about her younger brother, who perished in one of those rifts 23 years ago. Her son tries to comfort her, reminding her that the rift is gone now, and no one else will have to die there. Down in the trading district, a woman selling flying vehicles closes up early, sits outside with a bottle, and raises it to the sky, yelling hero between gulps. Other shopkeepers chime right in, toasting the night sky together. Meanwhile, in the roughest alley of the North District, a crew of regular troublemakers links up to grab some food and drinks. Instead of scrapping, their bald boss announces, "Nobody is starting any drama tonight," and the whole squad cheers, throwing back toast after toast to the hero. He thinks about his own little brother, who was just 16 when he stepped into that very rift years ago, and never made it back. Looking up at the sky, he yells out that his brother can finally rest in peace. Now that the rift is officially gone, not a single soul in Night City sleeps. That night, 30 million people party together. Fireworks bursting, people singing, dancing, and crying. Rival crews put down their weapons. For one night of peace, folks who usually stay cooped up inside pour out into the streets, holding up signs and shouting along with the crowd. This place, typically known as the City of Sin, transforms into a massive sea of celebration. And it's all thanks to a lone hero nobody can name, whose face nobody has ever seen, who gave them solid proof that miracles do happen, and that the rift, which has swallowed up endless lives, can actually be shut down. It's not just Night City. The entire country is celebrating. In the capital, at least 100,000 people pack the area. Outside, the Awakened Association headquarters, holding up glow sticks and phones, chanting hero loud enough to make the building shake. Up on the rooftop, Chun Jojo watches the crowd in total silence. His researcher asks if she will ever step into the spotlight. He admits he has no clue, but points out that she has already become humanity's beacon of hope. Down by the river in another city, a massive LED screen across the water scrolls a tribute, honoring our hero. Thank you for shutting down 17 rifts and saving thousands of lives every year. Over at Dragon City Academy, the top-tier class gathers out on the training field. Yin Yin takes the lead, her eyes bloodshot as she reads the broadcast. 17, she breathes out. Hanbing wonders aloud if they're all thinking of the same guy. But it's definitely him. Yin stays silent, though she catches his drift immediately. Me, the one who went off the grid. The legendary awakener, who used to be her teammate. Prop against the wall, Jing Run speaks up softly. Yet with absolute certainty, it's him, all right. Lin Yu stands just a bit away, staring at the floor, fists tightly clenched. Yin glances up at the sky and mutters, Su Lin, you'd better hang in there. Over at the Wang family mansion, Wang Shuqing gazes out her window at the cheering crowds. With a faint smile, she whispers, knew it was you. Who else could pull off a crazy stunt like that? She flashes back to how I looked, standing by the window during that celebratory feast, looking totally chill, but with an underlying fire in my eyes. She could tell even then that I was built different. She shoots a text to a number that has zero chance of reaching me. Jill, Sulin, when are you treating me to that dinner you owe me? Knowing I won't get it, she hits send anyway, then grins and pockets her phone. No rush, she tells herself. We'll enjoy that meal nice and slow. Once you wrap up whatever you're handling back home. The vibe in the Su family living room is totally suffocating. Su Jintian takes his spot at the head of the table. 3 smartphones laid out before him. Every single screen is plastered with breaking news about the mysterious woman. Record-breaking rift clearances, with pundits predicting she might eventually seal every last rift nationwide. As the whole country cheers for a nameless savior, his own level 90 milestone achievement gets totally drowned out by all the hype. Lin Wanqing sits nearby, feeling completely torn, glancing back and forth between the news and her husband. She wants to speak up, but she's too afraid. Su Yao's fingers tremble as she scrolls through her phone. Watching every single comment links Su Lin with the word hero. It feels like a total stab to the heart. Su Ling bites her lip with tear-filled eyes, remembering how terribly she used to treat me. The guilt is absolutely devouring her. Su Xiaoxiao huddles over in the corner, secretly grinning at the latest headlines, muttering under her breath that her brother, Su Lin, is seriously a total badass. But then Lin Wanqing glares right at her, and she shuts her mouth. Su Qin glares at the screen, his knuckles turning white as he clenches his fists. No way, he mutters. There's just no way he's the hero. He's supposed to be completely worthless. When nobody replies, the room goes completely dead silent. Su Qin finally stands up, walks out, and then returns about 3 minutes later. All he says is that it's time for everyone to hit the sack. Meanwhile, the massive street party keeps going all night long. As I lie in bed, I can hear the wild cheering blasting straight through my window. It settles down in waves for just a brief second, but then somebody gets the crowd hyped up again, and the whole uproar peaks even louder than before. Giving up on sleep, I sit up and check out my phone instead. Honestly, the online forums are a complete mess right now. Thousands of new threads are popping up every single minute, and they're all about me. People are trying to decode my identity, tallying up how many rifts I've managed to clear, and speculating on where I'm going to strike next. Plus, there's a ton of people posting some really wild stuff, like begging to marry the hero or wanting to carry the guy's babies. I wince and shut the app. The racket outside hasn't died down a bit. Lying back down, I close my eyes and think, this is way too loud. I gotta crash somewhere else. I get up and head downstairs. The old guy at the desk is still sawing logs, sleeping through the absolute chaos outside like it's nothing. I walk right past him, without him even batting an eye. Out there, the street is 10 times more jammed than I expected. It's wall-to-wall people, some wasted, some singing, some dancing, and others crying in each other's arms. The neon signs are totally blinding, and the air reeks of booze and sweat. Keeping my head down, I push through the crowd, changing disguises 3 times, and cutting across 5 different streets, before finally finding a quiet spot. It's a deserted warehouse area, right on the edge of the East District, with just a few homeless guys curled up. Asleep in the corners, I spot a clean area, pull a blanket out of my ring, lay it out, and finally drift off. I start dreaming. In the dream, I'm standing before a colossal tower, so massive I can't even see the top. Just endless floors vanishing into the clouds. Standing right in front of it is the old man from the Sandstorm Death Zone, Aguirre, the shaman. White hair, tattered gray robe. He looks at me and smiles. Kid, remember what I told you. Don't let those beasts win. I try to reply, but the words catch in my throat. His figure begins to fade, growing blurry, and then completely vanishes, leaving nothing but the tower and the gray sky overhead. I bolt upright. It's morning. The rocky ceiling above starts glowing, as the fake lights kick in to signal a brand new day. Sitting up, I give my neck a good stretch, with that dream still looping in my mind. Don't let those savages win. Inhaling deeply, I pack the blanket away in my ring and get up. Time to keep closing down rifts today. Still got 205 left, no biggie. I'll just take it easy for now. Meanwhile, light years away from Earth, on the Crimson Planet, a world born of fire and gore. A massive teleportation circle flares to life. Right inside the levitating dark citadel. Spanning 100 meters, it's etched with deep red sigils. 3 individuals stand right at the core. At the front is Shu Wei, daughter of the Blood Flame King. A teen of 17 or 18, clad in blazing scarlet, with bloodshot eyes that seem to have molten magma churning within them. She's level 60, practically bursting with anticipation. As the gateway beams, 2 companions stand behind her. Chi-Lai, a massive, red-headed beast over 2 meters tall, bare-chested with sinewy, rope-like muscles, and a flaming fiend skull inked across his chest, clocking in at level 78. And Mei Ji, a sleek woman wearing revealing black leather armor, level 75 with a piercing gaze, who excels at manhunting and silent takedowns. The Blood Flame King's voice thunders out from the inner depths of the fortress. Locate the mark on Earth, a level 10, who can shut down rifts. Secure them. Enlist them if you can. Execute them if you can't. Shu Wei takes the lead. Shu Wei smirks, totally self-assured. Dealing with a measly level 10 will be a walk in the park. Chi-Lai cracks a joke about giving the target a good punch. To test him first. To test if he's actually fit to serve as the princess's underling. Mei Ji mocks him for picking on a guy who isn't even in his league. But Shirlai just wants to gauge the strength of someone who has conquered over a dozen rifts. The king then gives them a stern reminder. The gateway will remain open for only 7 days, meaning they must head back by then, no matter if they've tracked down their mark or not. He also cautions them against stirring up trouble, pointing out that while the natives might be weak on their own, their massive numbers easily overwhelm a trio. Shirlai completely shrugs off the advice, bragging that he could easily take on 10,000 of them solo. Just then, the magical formation glows intensely, and with a massive boom, all 3 disappear straight into the flash. Meanwhile, out in the lawless territory of Earth, right amidst a perpetually snow-blanketed ridge, situated within the Tian Shan Mountains, the sky suddenly splits wide open. A pitch-black tear bleeds a crimson glow along its edges, resembling a waking eye, as it expands into a chasm spanning 100 meters. The 3 figures plummet right through, keeping their balance as they hit the snow. Shirlai touches down ahead of the others, looks around, and smirks, making a remark about the freezing air. He stands there bare-chested in minus 30-degree weather, without showing even a hint of a chill, as stray flakes instantly vaporize into steam before making contact with his skin. Mei Ji takes a moment to scan the environment, observing that this place is actually better than the seas of lava from their homeland. Shirlai then drops to one knee, grabs a quick handful of the powder, takes a whiff, and declares that he catches the scent of life. And plenty of it, too. Shu Wei touches down last, perfectly unfazed by the biting frost, even though she's just wearing a thin red dress. The falling snow melts away, long before it gets within 3 inches of her body. She retrieves a palm-sized, black compass, etched with twisted runes, featuring a blood-red orb at its center that swirls like fluid. It's a tracker designed to detect clear energy, the unseen brand left on anyone who conquers a rift or dungeon. The more a person clears, the deeper that mark becomes, and this device exists solely to hunt down those who carry it. Shu Wei watches the sphere spin, then lock dead on, pointing straight east. Text materializes right beside it. Target distance, roughly 3,200 kilometers. Target mark depth, 17 rifts. 1 dungeon. Total, 18 layers. Assessment, extremely rare. Her eyes widen. 18 layers. She mutters. 17 rifts. 1 dungeon. The other 2 freeze. Chi-Lai's jaw drops. The king said 8 layers just yesterday morning, and now it's already 18? That means this guy cleared 10 more rifts in a single day. Mei Ji's smile completely vanishes, remembering that the record for any tier 1 planet tops out at just 2 rifts cleared by a single person. She wonders aloud if this monster is even human, adding that this is precisely why the king deployed them. If a powerhouse like this keeps leveling up for a few more years, they could seriously threaten their home world. Chi-Lai asks if they're pursuing. Shu Wei laughs, absolutely thrilled. Hell yeah, we're pursuing. I've never run into an 18-layer prodigy before. I want to see what this guy is actually made of. With a wave of her hand, she orders, "Let's move." The trio rockets straight into the sky, soaring due east high above the Tian Shan Mountains. Chi rips across the sky like a blazing meteor, shirtless with vapor rising right off his skin, as snowflakes melt before even brushing him. He's whining about how slow it is to fly without a ride, clocking barely a few hundred kilometers an hour. Meiji drifts right beside him, cloaked in a dim black haze, telling him to chill out, since they have a whole week to track down the target. Chi smirks and fires back that he might as well have some fun during the search, noting there are billions of folks living on this rock. Plenty to slaughter if he gets bored. Meiji cautions him that the king prioritized the target over wreaking havoc, but Shirley counterargues that the strongest locals only cap out at level 90, meaning nobody can outrun him, and hints that if their mark is lying low in some major metropolis, dropping a few bodies to stir up panic could actually smoke him out. Shu Wei catches up from behind, basically agreeing with Chi Li's logic, greedily licking her lips in anticipation at the prospect of hunting an 18-layer mark holder. She wonders aloud what the guy looks like, his age, or even his gender. With no real answers, they blast off toward their prey, still 3,000 kilometers out. That is the exact danger closing in on me, though I am completely oblivious to it right now. I am currently positioned in the heart of a wasteland, standing right before a colossal stone gateway rift. Code CN0801. Dubbed Death Dune. Active for 57 years. 103 challengers entered. 0 survivors recorded. I push my way out an hour and a half later, and the portal crumbles to pieces behind me. Dusting the grit off myself, I pull up my status screen. Congratulations on completing CN0801. Clear reward. Select one of 4 available skills. Sand Tunnel. Active subterranean stealth repositioning. Duration, 1 minute. Cooldown, 30 minutes. Sandstorm Eye. Active AoE damage zone. Ticks for 20k per second over 60 seconds. Sand Golem Summon. Active skill to call a minion. Boasts 500k HP and 50k attack power. 10-minute sand resistance passive buff. Grants 50% sand damage immunity and 30% speed boost in deserts. I skim through the options and grab the 4th one, without giving it a second thought. Honestly, none of this trash matters to me anymore, but I'll save it as fusion fodder for the furnace later. Pocketing the new skill, I trudge back to my ride. Time for the next rift. Meanwhile, about 3,000 clicks away, Shu Wei abruptly halts midair, staring intently at her tracker. Sheila asks her what's up. She narrows her eyes. He's on the move. The glowing red orb keeps calibration shifting until pointing firmly northeast. He was heading dead east just a second ago, but now he's pivoting northeast, and he's hauling ass, clocking at least 800 kilometers per hour. Chi is taken aback. Maybe he's got a flying mount. Shu Wei nods. Could be. With that, they veer off to pursue. By 8 p.m., I finally step out of my 10th rift today. Total haul for the day. 10 instances. 10 utterly useless skills. And 10 more pieces of furnace scrap. I stretch my arms, hop into my vehicle, and drive back toward night city, mapping out tomorrow's grind. Little do I know, a trio of bounty hunters is currently just 300 kilometers out, gaining ground rapidly. Shu Wei tracks the dial expectantly, as the indicator whirls erratically, before locking onto a straight path ahead. 300 kilometri. Shirley volunteers to recon ahead solo, but Shu Wei declines the idea. They move together to avoid spooking their quarry. Meanwhile, Ji senses something's off. Looks like he's heading right back where he came from. Shui Wei verifies that the orb's heading is definitely turning. Did he catch on to them? Meiji replies that's highly unlikely. The compass emits absolutely no traceable signals. That is, unless he possesses some bizarre talent. Shui Wei merely grins, clearly intrigued. She instructs the pair to lag behind by 500 kilometers. She's curious to discover his actual destination. Returning to Night City, I touch down, hide my ride, change my appearance, and step out onto the lively streets. The party vibe is winding down, yet plenty of folks are still drifting about. They're carrying Long Live the Hero banners, just hunting for a drinking buddy. I'm making my way to Peace Inn when I freeze. Something feels totally off, though I can't quite pinpoint it. It feels exactly like a pair of eyes is locked on me. Turning around, I scan the gathering. People are boozing and singing. There's even a brawl kicking off nearby. Nothing seems out of place, yet the unsettling vibe persists. Scowling, I decide to head inside anyway. The old guy is still napping behind the desk. I head up to my quarters and lock up, peeking at the road through a split in the drapes. Still no obvious signs of trouble, but that creepy sensation of being tracked is intensifying, and it's closing in. Meanwhile, 500 kilometers away, Shui Wei stares at her device with a scowl. Bizarre. His coordinates haven't shifted at all. He's literally just idling in one place. Shirlai remarks that it's the perfect chance. Let's go nab him right now. But Shuai Wei rejects the idea. Had he spotted them, he'd be fleeing by now. Since he isn't running, he obviously doesn't know they're there. So why on earth did he halt? She smirks, suggesting maybe he reached home. The trio accelerates rapidly toward Night City. 300 kilometers. 200. 150 Night City silhouette comes into view. A massive subterranean metropolis. Drenched in endless neon under a thick, rocky ceiling. Shuai Wei hovers over it, her eyes gleaming with excitement. He's right there. Her compass points dead center at the city. The signal's screaming loud and clear. She's ready to go grab him immediately. But Shuai Wei decides she'll scout it out solo first, while the other two wait outside. Meiji's uneasy about her going in alone, but Shuai Wei just brushes it off. He's only level 10. What's he gonna do to me? She straightens her dress and drops into an abandoned warehouse district. Taking a breath, ugh. This planet's air reeks. She mutters, smells like dirt. Then she alters her appearance. Her red dress shifts into a plain black jacket. Her long hair crops short. Her striking face morphs into something totally average. In seconds, she looks like just another random girl. And she heads into the city, happy with the disguise. Meanwhile, I'm watching the street from my window. And that gut feeling keeps getting stronger. It's not in my head. Someone's definitely watching me. I take a breath and trigger Shadow Step. Vanishing instantly, I head outside. Invisible, I scan the crowd from the street. Then I spot her, a woman in her early 20s. Black jacket, short hair, looking totally ordinary. Standing across the road, scanning the crowd like she's on the hunt. She blends in perfectly with everyone else in Night City. But I'm locked onto her eyes. They're blood red, not just bloodshot, legitimately blood red, as if liquid is swirling right inside the pupils. I've run into all sorts in this town, but never a pair of eyes like those. She scans the area for a bit, then heads off toward the East District, right toward me. I don't move a muscle. She passes right by, her stride, faltering for just a split second. Then she keeps moving, vanishing into the throng. Turning, I track her form as she walks away. The sensation of being watched fades, replaced by a brand new feeling, pure danger. Serious trouble. Inhaling sharply, I duck into a vacant alleyway, ensuring no one is watching before sparking the teleport. I blink out and reappear a kilometer off, tucked into another quiet side street. I swap faces once more and head out the opposite way, merging back into the crowd. My mind keeps racing back to those crimson eyes. They aren't from around here, no way. So who is she? Where'd she drop in from? And what's she doing hunting for me? That's when the old-timers' words hit me. The ones from back in the Sandstorm Dead Zone. An invasion usually triggers once floor 99 of the tower gets cleared. But the Star of Blood and Flame, they don't follow the rulebook. They could descend at any moment. I gasp. The Star of Blood and Flame. They're already here, out on the avenue. Shu Wei stands amidst the masses, scanning the area. Just a second ago, she caught a distinct energy spike. Subtle, yet unmistakable. Pure power. Her mark was right. There, pivoting, she combs through the crowd again. But it's just too packed. Too many overlapping auras to pinpoint exactly who. She frowns, pulling out her compass. It whirls around before locking due west. He bolted. She blinks, then smirks. Interesting. Pocketing the device, she takes off westward. Meanwhile, I'm weaving rapidly through the West District crowd. I don't dare sprint out in the open. Way too suspicious. But on foot, I'm nowhere near as fast as flying. I've got to break out of the city. Once I clear the gates, I can whip out my ride and fly. Straight toward the unclaimed zone, where they won't be able to hunt me down. Hustling, I push toward the west gate. 10 minutes later, I freeze. Right up ahead, that exact same short-haired chick in the black jacket is just lounging on the street corner, scanning the crowd with those identical blood-red eyes. My eyes narrow. How on earth is she already here? I pivot and duck straight into a side alley. Behind me, Shu Wei stares right where I vanished. Grinning a bit, fast little runner, she puts her compass away and takes a casual stroll toward the alleyway. I'm straight up sprinting through the alley now, scrambling for a backup plan. Invisibility? Useless. She already knows my face, and she's locking onto my actual energy signature. Not my looks. Teleportation? 1,000 meters won't give me enough room. She'll just hunt me down again. What's the move? Standing in the alley. My mind races. I need to run, but where? Those blood-red eyes were locked entirely onto me. Sure, turning invisible and teleporting can buy me some distance, but she clearly has a reliable way to track me, so she's bound to catch up eventually. On top of that, my skills are still on cooldown. If making a break for it fails, then I fight. Let's check out what a person from a tier 2 world is actually packing. I summon my rare tier blade right out of my ring, grip it firmly, and then spin around, heading straight back toward the mouth of the alley. I step right into her path, making her blink, in shock that I actually confronted her instead of bolting. Scanning me, she just sees an average guy in his 30s, wearing basic clothes and clutching a dimly glowing blade. To someone like her, that's just a trash level 10 rare item. Scarcely even a decent upgrade. Basically, just another nobody awakener. As far as she's concerned, I evaluate her too. Early 20s, dark hair, dark jacket, with a face so plain she'd blend right into any crowd. Except for those blood-red eyes, which seem to have molten lava churning inside them. They definitely don't belong to a human from this world. Plus, there's an intense aura bleeding off her that I can't quite describe. Looking for me? I ask, keeping my voice steady. She flashes the kind of naive, playful smirk a kid gets when they stumble upon a brand new toy. Yep, it took me ages to track you down. Do you have any clue how far I've come? All the way from a star of blood and flame. Just to find you. My eyes narrow. The star of blood and flame. So the rumors are true. What's your business here? I demand. She cocks her head, analyzing me like some bizarre specimen. My business? I just wanted to see what someone who actually conquered 18 rifts looks like. She blinks. Honestly, it's a bit of a letdown. I remain silent. So, she presses on, noting that according to their ancient chronicles, the absolute maximum anyone from a Tier 1 world has achieved is a mere 2 rifts. But you, 18. She's trying to figure out what sort of freak I really am. Then she takes a step closer, her eyes lighting up. Putting you down would be a total waste. How about this instead? Become my servant. Head back to the planet of blood and flame with me. With your skills running interference for me, you might actually land yourself a solid rank. I stare back at her and let out a soft, dry laugh. Have you completely lost it? Her smile instantly vanishes. A split second later, 2 figures come crashing down from above, right behind her. Boom, boom, smashing a pair of deep craters right into the dirt. A massive, red-headed brute hauls himself out of one hole, standing well over 2 meters tall and completely shirtless. He's got a blazing, demonic skull tattooed straight across his chest. He smirks and tells the princess not to bother wasting her breath on me. Just beat me into submission and drag me along. A sleek woman clad in black leather floats out from the other crater, checking me out with a narrow-eyed gaze. She mutters that I look pretty ordinary for a guy sporting an 18 layer mark, and offers to have a little fun with me first. I eye the 3 of them carefully. One is level 78, another is level 75, and the princess herself gives off an aura way more intense than the other 2, even if I can't pin down her exact stats. Taking a deep breath, I tighten my grip on my blade. No running away now. It's time to fight. I trigger my taunt skill. Normally, this forces every single mob within a 100-meter radius into a permanent, suicidal rage directed entirely at me. But the 3 of them just stand there, completely unfazed. It has 0 effect on them. Either they don't count as monsters, under whatever system mechanics govern the skill, or entities from a Tier 2 world are just totally immune to it. The princess blinks, looking totally thrown off. Huh, what did you just pull? I felt some freakish energy. I don't bother replying, I just strike, hurtling myself forward like a shot arrow. My blade is aimed directly at the big guy. He looks caught off guard for a second, then chuckles and meets me head-on with a fist. Rather than dodging, boom! Steel collides with knuckles in an absolute ear-splitter. My edge fails to even scratch his skin, yet his punch connects squarely with my body. 80 billion in damage dealt, with 20 billion countered back. Next thing I know, I'm hurled away like a missile, shattering 3 structures before getting stuck in a 4th. Glancing down at my own torso, there's a massive indentation driven right into it. Shattered ribs, blood spilling everywhere. That's 80 billion wiped out from my 31 trillion pool. Roughly a single 40th of my HP. Not half bad, considering I regenerate 3.1 trillion per second. This drop is practically nothing compared to that. Wrenching myself free from the masonry, I pop my neck and watch the dent in my chest visibly mend itself. On the fly, the brute's eyes snap wide open, his smirk completely freezing. What the hell? That hit packed 80 billion damage. How are you still breathing? Ignoring his shock, I make another run. This time I target the woman, but she reacts quicker, flinging her arms outward and weaving an infinity of dark filaments. They close in from all sides, fine as hairs, but sharp as razors, binding on my arm and slicing straight through the skin. 50 billion damage taken, reflecting 12.5 billion back at her. I take a quick look at the cords, then peer back up. Her confident grin is already faltering. Supposedly, those strands can mince a level 70. awaken her to ribbons. Yet against me, they barely managed to leave a few scratches. Is that it? I demand. Her face completely changes an instant later. Wrenching my arm back, I snap the strings by sheer brute strength, the broken ends snapping violently, nearly slicing her own face open. Lunging forward, I swing my blade straight down at her. She vanishes into thin air just in the nick of time, rematerializing 10 meters away. Looking totally rattled, the big guy just gawks in disbelief. What the hell is up with this dude? The princess has been tracking the action this entire time, her eyes lighting up more and more. Fascinating, this is actually getting good. She whispers, 80 billion from one hit, and he's still kicking? Plus her threads can't even scratch him right. No wonder he cleared 18 riffs. Stepping forward, she barks, Gili, quit messing around and get serious. He smirks. You got it, princess. Crimson flames suddenly explode across his entire frame, distorting the surrounding air with intense heat. His body expands within seconds, ballooning to 3 meters tall, with muscles rippling like solid stone. Kid, let me show you what real might looks like. His next strike comes 10 times quicker, and 10 times harder than the last one. I don't even have a split second to react. Boom. 800 billion damage, with 200 billion countered right back. I get pulverized straight into the dirt, carving a 50-meter crater out of the ground. I'm stuck at the bottom with half my body crushed, blood and internal fluids pooling around me. Losing 800 billion out of 31 trillion means a quarter of my max HP vanished in one shot. But a moment later, the trauma begins recovering at lightning speed, regenerating 3.1 trillion per second. Means I'm completely topped off in exactly 3 seconds. By all logic, that reflected damage should have wiped him out completely. But he honestly just looks like he's hurting, not actually dying. Which means he's likely rocking both an offensive and a defensive ability simultaneously. The big guy glares into the pit, tracking my regeneration, with his eyes damn near popping out his head. What kind of insane healing speed is that? The woman is totally shocked too. Decades of combat. Yet she's never seen anyone tank hits like this. A level 10 managing to survive a level 78's 800 billion damage strike and still recovering? Meanwhile, the princess just giggles, totally thrilled, while clapping her hands. This is wild, Sheila. Hit him again. Let's see how much more he can take. Mashing his teeth together, the brute unloads another strike. Boom! Another 800 billion. My partially mended body gets pulverized all over again. But I refuse to drop. I drag myself out of the crater, completely drenched in blood, with bones poking right through my shredded skin. Even so, my gaze remains dead calm. I stare straight at him, and slowly, my lips curl into a smirk. Had enough yet? I ask. Sheila completely freezes. Meiji scoffs and flings her hands forward once more, unleashing a fresh wave of dark threads at me, way thicker and tighter than before. They bind tightly around me, forming a cocoon, pinning me down absolutely. Meiji cackles, swaying as if she's ecstatic. Run. Why aren't you running now? But before the words can even leave her mouth, a terrifying wave of power erupts violently from within the shell. Her face instantly falls. Oh crap, boom. A crimson light detonates outward. Blood sacrifice. I sacrificed 10% of my current 2.5 trillion HP pool, exactly 250 billion, converting it into 500 billion points of damage. That tears through everything in a massive shockwave. Meiji is right in the line of fire with no way to dodge. The explosion takes her out directly, inflicting 500 billion damage, hurling her backward straight through 3 whole buildings. She hits the debris, bleeding out everywhere. A massive hole is blown right through her chest, leaving her organs totally exposed. Lai's expression drops instantly. He sprints over to lift her up. Hey, you doing okay? She spits up blood, genuine panic filling her eyes for the very first time. This dude, something is seriously off with him. He counters damage and can even burst it back at us. Lai snaps his gaze back to me. I've already ripped through the webbing, drenched in blood. Yet my injuries are visibly knitting back together. I lock eyes with him, then scan over to the princess watching from afar. Who's next? Lai bellows before charging again, unleashing another strike for 800 billion, though he doesn't immediately follow it up this time. I catch on. He has to cool down before landing another heavy hit like that. The blow sends me reeling backward, but I am completely recovered within a mere couple of seconds. Despite the chaos, my gaze remains entirely unfazed. I am biding my time, waiting for a single vulnerability. Shuaiwei observes the fight from the sidelines, her eyes lighting up more and more with excitement. Flawless, absolutely flawless. She whispers quietly to herself, a level 10, withstanding. A level 78 while throwing damage back at a level 75. If I could just subjugate someone like that to be my puppet, nobody would ever stand a chance. Then her demeanor shifts. But seeing as you refuse to submit willingly, I can't risk letting you get any stronger. She suddenly shouts out, Chilai. Fall back. He pauses in uncertainty. Visibly ticked off, he backs away. Shuwei steps up and locks eyes with me. You're full of surprises, she says. No yoke. So, I'm taking care of this myself. She whips out a fist-sized glass orb. Totally clear, holding a swirling, confined, deep red ember inside. That distorts the air with every single beat. Get what this is? She asked with a smirk. It's a burst fire crystal. A single-use item. It packs just one casual strike's worth of punch. For my dad, and he happens to be level 190. My eyes go wide. Level 190? She flashes a sweet, innocent grin. Man, I really didn't want to use this. But you're just too stubborn. She's bluffing. Took a dozen hits, and you're still on your feet. So you leave me no choice. She tosses the orb forward. It hangs in midair. The dark crimson flame inside throbs violently, ripping and warping the surrounding atmosphere. A crushing, suffocating aura instantly blankets the area. I try to bolt, but it's like my feet are glued down. This is straight-up level suppression. A level 190 powerhouse bear-hugging a level 10 like me. And I'm completely helpless against it. The glass shatters, and a wave of dark red fire erupts, shaping into a dragon that unhinges its jaws and gulps me down. Boom! The heat is insane. The nearby buildings liquefy on the spot, and the street turns to molten lava. The second that fiery dragon takes me under, I feel my physical body starting to dissolve. 10 quadrillion damage ticks in a split second, and right at that exact moment, a dull gray glow erupts across my skin. Stone substitution kicks in. A drab stone effigy erupts from within me, intercepting the blow meant for me. The blazing dragon clamps down on the figure, smashing it to pieces on impact, and the beast itself vanishes right along with it. I'm left standing there with a solitary hit point. I actually made it. Absolute silence blankets the field. Her jaw completely drops, eyes popping so wide you could shove a fist in him. Meiji lies in the debris, staring up in utter shock. Shuei's smirk completely freezes on her face. This is impossible. She breathes. My dad casual attack, sealed inside a gem, and it couldn't even take out a level 10. I look back at her, a slow smirk spreading. Though spent, I take a deliberate step forward. She recoils on pure instinct. I advance another pace, and she backs up again. She's terrified. She's sitting at level 60, 50 whole levels above me, and she's still scared stiff. I'm just way too much of an anomaly to her. Unkillable, insliceable. And packed with freaky perks she's never witnessed before. Inhaling sharply, she pulls out a different item. A hand-sized, pitch-black medallion, carved with a blood-crimson glyph, signifying flight. A highborn lady, like herself, isn't supposed to gamble with her life. It's a panic button escape tool. A single-use artifact meant to warp her directly back to the planet of blood and flame. She never anticipated actually deploying it. But right now, it's glaringly obvious she's out of options. Spotting the medallion, my eyes narrow. She's trying to bolt. I sprint forward instantly. No dice. She shatters the token, and a crimson lightning flash swallows her whole. She throws one final glance my way and sneers, hardly as harmlessly as before. I won't forget you, she promises. 18 layers down. You're seriously the most fascinating person I've ever run into. You take this round, but next time, I'm coming back fully prepared, and I'll drag you right back to be my most submissive thrall. As the crimson glare intensifies, I close the gap and plunge my blade directly through the radiance. It cleaves through absolutely nothing but thin air. Her silhouette blurs, then dissolves completely, leaving only the fading echo of her voice behind. Remember the name Shuai Wei, scion of the Blood Flame Sovereign. We will cross paths again. The glow completely dies out, leaving an empty space where she once stood, save for a charred shard of the shattered medallion by my boots. I gazed down at the remnant for a silent moment. I pulled off the win, but that was a close shave. That level 190 onslaught nearly finished me off on the spot. If Stone's stand-in hadn't kicked in right then, I'd be history by now. Turning around, I glance over at Chi-Lai and Meiju, one upright near a pit, the other slumped in the debris, both goggling at me like they've just spotted a phantom. Chi-Lai gulps hard. He's at level 78. He connected with over a dozen strikes on me, clocking 800 billion apiece, tens of trillions overall. By any normal logic, that should have wiped me out 10 times over. Yet here I am, completely fine. On top of that, I just turned around and smashed Meiju through a trio of structures, forcing the princess to bail out. Using a panic button teleportation device. What kind of monster do I look like to them? I step toward them. Ew, what are you planning to do? Offering no reply, I simply close the distance, until I'm looming right ahead of him, standing well over 2 meters tall at this point. He's shaking like a frightened little bird right before me. Your princess ditched you guys, I mock. So what's your move? Chilai gapes, but he can't even choke out a word. Meiji drags her battered body out from the debris, covered in blood, her face completely drained of color. We can serve as your slaves. She pleads, trembling. Just please spare our lives. Glancing at her, I shift my gaze over to Chilai. Then a faint smirk crosses my face. Slaves? I shake my head. Nah, I've got no use for any. The very next split second, I trigger blood sacrifice, trading 10% of my current HP to deal 200% AoE damage to everything around me. 620 billion points of pure destruction. Chilai Sha. Eyes widen in absolute shock as he stares at his chest, where a fountain of blood is already erupting. He drops dead. I make my way over to Meiji. She's paralyzed on the ground, utterly helpless, just looking up at me in sheer panic. Please don't kill me, she begs. I can feed you intel. Top secret info on the Star of Blood and Flame. Even the princess's weak spots. Towering over her, I look down coldly. Spill it. Gasping for air, she frantically blabs everything. Their homeworld's coordinates, power rankings. Their whole faction hierarchy. The Blood Flame King's true combat power. Shu Wei's underlying traits. And exactly how long until the gate locks down and stabilizes. Once more. So it turns out, because our realm hasn't beaten floor 99 of the Spire yet. This dimensional rift remains highly volatile. Only 3 sub-level 80 fighters can squeeze through at a time. And whenever a deployment happens, there's a massive 1-week cooldown before the next wave, meaning she won't be showing her face around here for at least another week. I just listen without making a sound, and then plunge my blade straight down. Meiji's eyes go wide, and she never gets the chance to close them. Sheathing my sword, I stare down at the 2 corpses, level 78 and level 75, both totally dead. I catch my breath, turn around, and head out of the ruined street. It's completely deserted. The racket from the brawl was so intense that everyone nearby bolted. Way before it finished, I make my way through the debris slowly. Man, I actually almost bit the dust right there. At least my HP is already totally topped off. I straighten up and have a good stretch. Shui Wei, daughter of the Blood Flame King. Level 60, packed with escape gear, and she'll definitely return. But that portal only allows 1 transfer a week, so her next shot is at least 7 days away. I glance up at the stone-gray cavern ceiling overhead. Next time, it's anybody's game who ends up dead. Meanwhile, light years away from Earth, a streak of crimson light tears through the atmosphere, hurling back toward the Star of Blood and Flame. Trapped inside, Shu Wei clenches her fists so fiercely that her nails slice into her skin. She isn't weeping, she never sheds tears, but her entire frame is trembling, not out of terror, but from sheer, unadulterated rage. She keeps snarling Su Lin's name under her breath, replaying the whole ordeal, that 18-layer mark. A mere level 10 who shrugged off over a dozen of Chilai's blows, who countered with enough recoil to practically obliterate Meiji, and who forced her to burn a precious escape emblem just to stay alive. She vows she will never forget him. Earth fades away into a tiny blue speck in her wake, while the Star of Blood and Flame looms larger ahead. Right in front of her sits a massive, blood-hued world, dotted with floating metropolises drifting over seas of liquid magma. The most spectacular and heavily armed citadel among them is the Grand Imperial Palace itself. Shu Wei trips out of the warp circle, all messed up with her clothes ripped, drenched in filth and blood, looking exactly like someone running for their life from a war zone. Well, because she actually is. Maids hurry over to help, asking if she's all right, but she brushes them off, demanding to know where her dad is. Hearing he's in the throne room hosting a cabinet meeting, she storms straight over, not giving a damn about her wrecked state. Inside the chamber, the Blood Flame King is right in the middle of updating his ministers on regional colonial matters, a secured portal on a newly seized world, some rioting on a world called Dark Flame Star, which is already taken care of, and a mining outpost requiring a fresh batch of slaves. Suddenly, the doors fly open, and Shu Wei stands there, looking totally beat up, leaving the ministers frozen in utter shock. The king waves his hand, sending them all away. And as soon as the room is empty, he steps down from the dais, looming at well over 3 meters high, and leans over to look his daughter in the eye. Dead, he demands. She shakes her head, thinking of Chili and Meiji, then hesitates before confessing that they are gone. His face betrays no emotion at all. He just gives a nod, saying that making it back alive is enough. Completely unable to bottle it up anymore, Shu Wei finally cracks under the stress and fills him in on every single detail. Touching down on Earth, tracking down the target to Night City, Chili's. Sudden assault, Meiji getting heavily wounded, resorting to the flame burst crystal as a final option, and ultimately having to bail out using the escape token. But when she explains how Su Lin shrugged off Chili's 800 billion damage strikes, the king's unbothered composure wavers, especially when she mentions Su Lin deflecting that damage, intensely enough to leave Meiji on the brink of death. A tick twitches his eyelid as she details Su Lin surviving that burst of flame. The crystal itself. He finally speaks up. Some kind of substitute life-saving skill. She nods. Yeah, I saw it firsthand. A gray light erupted from his body and deflected the blow. The king goes quiet for a second, pretty much amused that a casual strike of his own got tanked by a level 10's defensive skill, calling it the first real surprise he's had in a long time. He breaks it down step by step, tanking more than a dozen of Chi Lai's punches, and still packing enough juice to counterattack. Probus. Su Lin's healing rate completely defies the norm. We're talking hundreds of billions per second minimum. He also notes that Su Lin still managed to pop off an AoE attack, even while pinned down by Mei Gei's threads, slapping her with 500 billion damage, assuming it's a blood sacrifice type of skill, which trades a chunk of current HP for double the damage output. And considering Su Lin had about a third of his health remaining at that point in Chi Lai's beatdown, his total HP pool has got to be several trillion at least. Shu Wei is shell-shocked. A level 10 with trillions of HP? The king goes quiet, then paces over to the window, gazing down at the churning oceans of magma below. 100,000 years, he says, slowly, across more than 8,000 Tier 1 worlds. Countless prodigies conquered. SSS rank, the hundredfold multiplier. That has always been the absolute hard cap for a Tier 1 entity. Nobody has ever shattered that ceiling until right now. This kid's raw ability would be god tier. Even when discussing a Tier 3 world, he turns toward his girl. Do you actually get what that implies? For the very first time, she just shakes her head. His look becomes completely dead serious. It means if we manage to lock him down, our world could finally have a legit shot at moving up to Tier 3 standing. It's a dream generations of our people have clung to. But if we screw up and fail to collar him, well, he just keeps leveling up out of control. On the flip side, he might be the exact one who ends up wrecking everything I've put together. This is simultaneously our ultimate shot, and potentially our absolute worst nightmare. Shu Wei stands frozen, completely floored by her dad's words. A Tier 3 planet? She asks if he's pulling her leg. Their world is already sitting in the top 100. Among all Tier 2 realms, has crushed thousands of Tier 1 planets. And lines of kings before his time have busted trying and failing to reach Tier 3. How could a single level 10 local possibly change that? The king straightens her out. He never claimed Su Lin could trigger the upgrade directly, just that putting him in chains gives him an opening. He breaks down the actual criteria for ascension. It isn't about grinding to level 200 or winning leaderboards, but rather controlling a creature who has shattered the cosmos's absolute hard-coded boundaries. Tier 1 worlds max out at SSS rank with a 100-fold power boost. Tier 2 tops off at 10,000-fold. Tier 3 limits at 1 million-fold. No matter how gifted or hardworking anyone is, that ceiling remained unbroken until this moment. Su Lin has smashed it. An 18-layer mark, level 10, trillions of HP, signifying that power multiplier of his is easily in the millions. Hell, maybe tens of millions. The king reckons that even elite Tier 3 prodigies with 3 awakenings can't really match what Su Lin pulled off with just a single awakening. And remember, he still has a second awakening lined up. Shui Wei's breathing gets heavy, replaying everything she just saw. Tanking Chi Lai's Hiviet Badao, mirroring that fatal damage straight back on Meiji, surviving that crazy flame burst crystal. She asks what their play is now, suggesting they deploy a whole army down there pronto. The king calls her back to reality. The gateway isn't nearly stable enough for that yet. Only fighters under level 80 can squeeze through. And on top of that, we're definitely not the only ones keeping tabs on him. News about someone smashing 18 rifts straight is bound to leak to other Tier 2 or Tier 3 scouts. Look at the bright side, though. Earth being directly tied to our realm gives us a solid head start over rival threats, which means we've got to make the first move and bag him before anyone else can swoop in. Shuaiwei highlights just how lethal Su Lan is, pointing out Shi Lai and Mei Ji both bit the dust trying. The king smiles, saying he's prepped something better, revealing a fist-sized dark crystal this time around, shrouded in swirling, almost alive golden glyphs. It's a soul enslavement crystal, one of a mere trio left on their entire homeworld. Unbelievably rare, even by Tier 3 benchmarks. Unleashing it on a target at death's door, who can't fight back will shackle their soul entirely, turning them into an unconditionally devoted thrall. Unbreakable, even if they somehow climb to level 300 later. The king hands the artifact straight over, allotting her exactly 6 days to get the job done. Track down Su Lin and thrash him within an inch of his life. Then utilize the crystal to lock him down as a slave forever. He vows to supply her with plenty of backup gear this round, to lock in a win, and drops a warning that the crystal strictly binds to whoever triggers it. Meaning, if she's the one who sets it off, Su Lin answers to nobody but her from that point on. Shu Wei clutches the crystal tight, her hands trembling as she recalls Su Lin's serene, unreadable gaze. Next, the king hits her with one last dead serious warning. Absolutely everything regarding Su Lin's raw potential and his hypothesis on breaking the universal limits must never be mentioned to a single soul. Not to her mother, not to her closest confidants. Nobody at all. If rival Tier 2 or Tier 3 superpowers catch wind that someone has bypassed the cosmic laws, they'll hunt him down by any means necessary. And the blood flame star won't even be left with scraps. Shu Wei gives a firm nod, understanding the stakes perfectly. The king sends her off to get some rest, mentioning he will deploy her back to Earth in 6 days. As she hits the exit, she stops short and questions her father if enslaving Su Lin will truly guarantee their rise to Tier 3. He falls silent for a long moment before giving an honest reply. He has no idea, yet this is the closest they have ever come to that milestone. In 100,000 years, if they blow this shot, it could take another 100 millennia, or it might never happen. This play has to work. Shu Wei nods and steps outside. The doors close behind her. Left on his own, the king gazes across the seas of magma for a good while, ultimately whispering to himself, Su Lin, what kind of guy are you really? I'm standing in the debris, looking down at the two corpses. Shi Lai and Mei Ji are sprawled in the ruins, completely bled dry. Princess Shuaiwei has completely vanished, leaving absolutely nothing behind, except a charred remnant of her escape token. As the night wind sweeps past, it carries the stench of blood and scorched flesh. I look down at my hands, which are still trembling, not out of fear, but just from the adrenaline crash after a near-death experience. That clash seriously almost finished me off. A level 190 strike, dealing 10 quadrillion damage in a single hit. And honestly, the true scope of that power is likely far greater than that, given that what struck me was merely a stored items output. If Stone Standing hadn't kicked in, I'd be nothing but a pile of ashes right now. Stone Standing. Imuta. Opening up my status panel to passive 5. Stone Standing activates automatically upon receiving fatal damage, leaving you at 1 HP with a 24-hour cooldown. 24 hours, that means. If Shuaiwei launches another assault like that, before this time tomorrow, I'm a dead man. I take a deep breath and close the interface, staring up at the gray stone ceiling above. Hold on. Mega mentioned something before she passed away. The portal can only transport individuals once a week. Since Shuaiwei just went back today, the absolute earliest she can return is next Monday. 6 days. I've got 6 days. My thoughts begin to race. 6 days. To become powerful enough to survive a blow of that magnitude. And at least more than just once. Knowing how that princess operates, considering she already had a horde of escape items, she will definitely show up again, fully loaded with multiple flame burst crystals next time. She clearly underestimated me during this round, never expecting a level 10 to tank a level 70 plus onslaught. Guess she was packing light this time. What happens if she rolls up with 3 or 4 crystals next round? What if she brings something way nastier? My hands tighten into a solid fist. I gotta power up. More than anything, I need a way to tank that kind of blast. I duck into a deserted alley, summon my ride, and blast straight into the sky, cruising toward the upcoming rift. No more time for real sleep. From here on out, I'm napping on the fly. letting autopilot pilot the ship while I catch some ZS. Leaning back against my seat, I pop open my interface to check today's 10 fresh skill perks, and they're total trash. Sand resistance, rock, armor, and poison mist. Not a single one does jack for me now. Luckily, I've got the furnace stone. I slide the fist-sized dark rock out of my inventory ring, its golden runes swirling lazily across the exterior. Select skills for conversion. I click through all 10 of today's drops, marking every last one of them. 10 vibrant streaks of colored light burst from my screen and melt into the relic. The golden markings flash fiercely, looking like the whole thing might implode, before a flawless beam of amber light radiates back out. Choose a passive ability to upgrade. I skim through my passive list, weighing my options. Let's start with Stone Standing, the literal lifesaver that kept me breathing today. If this buff manages to bump up its maximum trigger count, doubling it from once to twice would be massive. That princess wouldn't even faze me anymore. Sure, hitting that exact modification is a long shot, but it's a gamble worth taking. I lock in one upgrade on it. Passive, 5 Stone Stand upgrade successful. A new effect activates upon receiving fatal damage. Leaves you with 1 HP, cooldown slash to 12 hours. I just stare at the screen for 3 seconds. 12 hours, basically cut in half from a full day. Not quite what I wanted. I was aiming for extra charges, not just a shorter wait time. A lower cooldown barely even matters in this case. I shake my head and keep moving. Next up, Blood Sacrifice also totally proved its worth today, seriously wounding both Meiji and CLI. A raw damage boost would be awesome here, while a shorter cooldown is kinda meh. I trigger another upgrade. Active. Level 2 Blood Sacrifice upgrade successful. New effect, costs 10% health. Deals 200% AoE damage, and cooldown drops to 8 minutes. Another cooldown? Seriously? I frown, starting to realize. This stone really seems to prefer cooldown reductions over actual stat boosts that I'm hoping for. Pretty annoying. But hey, I've only burned 2 upgrades so far. With 8 left, I bone Spike Fury next. My damage reflection passive. There's absolutely no mention of a cooldown in its description. So logically, the only thing left to upgrade is the actual reflection percentage. What if it jumps from 25% up to 50%, or even 100%? Taking a deep breath, I lock in the enhancement. The UI panel flickers like crazy. Passive. Level 2 Bone Spike Fury upgrade successful. New effect. Reflects 50% of incoming damage right back at the attacker. Finally, that's exactly what I wanted. I push my luck, 2 more upgrades. Bring it to a brand new effect. Reflects 100% of incoming damage right back at the attacker. After hitting that point, it won't upgrade anymore. Looks like 100% is the absolute hard cap for this skill. Still, that's pretty insane from here on out. Anyone who strikes me reflects the identical amount of damage. Given my massive HP pool and recovery, there's pretty much nothing they can do. That won't instantly backfire on them just as hard. That burned 3 total upgrades on Bone Spike Fury, leaving me with 5. After weighing my options, I choose to dump the remaining 5 into my first passive healing boost. A golden light floods in. Passive 1. Healing boost upgrade successful. New effect. Regenerates 15% of maximum HP every second. 15% of 31 trillion. Means I'm recovering 465 billion health every single second. For a resident of a Tier 1 world, that is an absolute hard ceiling. No one else should ever be hitting numbers like that. But then I remember that. Crystal. Shuaiwei unleashed 10 quadrillion damage in a single strike. That is enough overkill to wipe me out over 3,000 times. The reality check completely kills my buzz. Far in the distance, the glow of another rift shimmers in the darkness ahead. Checking my phone, it's Tuesday at 1 a.m. Just 6 days left until Shuaiwei returns. 6 days. I have to clear out every remaining rift. With 195 to go, that averages out to roughly 33 a day. That's over 1 per hour, factoring in transit. So, basically, sleeping is out of the question. I pocket my phone, pull a water bottle from my storage ring, and down a few quick gulps. Rising to my feet, I step up to the front of the cockpit and watch the next rift's radiance loom larger across the holographic screen. Time to roll. The vessel surges directly toward the light, while I'm out here grinding, over at the Su family manor. My father, Su Juntion, sits alone in his study at 3 a.m., staring intently at a smartphone, featuring a stickied forum thread right at the top. Exclusive. Night City's mystery woman suspected to be Su Lin. 18 rifts cleared. His expression remains totally blank, but his knuckles turn white. Gripping the phone, Lin Wanxin walks in looking pale. asking if he's still awake. He doesn't reply straight away. When she spots the screen, the reality hits her. I've cleared 10 more rifts. She goes dead silent, recalling all those years I spent locked away and ignored, taking the fall for things I never did. And the exact day I walked out on the Sue family for good, declaring I was completely done with them. Back then, she figured I was just blowing off steam. A mère de loser who wouldn't last long outside the family's shadow. But look at me now, 18 rifts. That's something she'd never dare attempt. Not even once in her entire lifetime. Su Jin-tian turns around toward the window, keeping his back to her, and orders her to have the staff get things ready. Ready for what? She inquires. Put out a manhunt warrant, he demands, his tone freezing cold. Su Lin, wanted for 14 homicides. Make a nationwide search. Dead or alive. She's completely stunned. 14 people? When did he ever kill anyone? He doesn't actually need to have killed anyone. He counters, spinning around to face her. If I say he's guilty, then he's guilty. He is currently the most powerful man in the nation. No one. And nothing can stop him from doing whatever the hell he wants. Lin Wanqing recoils, staring at her husband's expression. So familiar, so authoritative, and suddenly downright terrifying. Jin Tian, have you completely lost your mind? He's your own flesh and blood. And that's precisely why we can't let him live. He speaks bluntly. 18 rifts and counting. The moment he gets powerful enough, the very first person he'll target is me and the entire Su family. Do you really want to stand by and watch our whole family get annihilated by him? She has no reply to that. He grabs his phone and places a call. It's me. Put out the manhunt order. The charge is murder. 14 awakened victims discovered in Night City's East District. Forget the proof. I'll have my people forge it. He hangs up and gazes back out the window. Su Lin, let's see where you're going to hide this time. Now, that's a world I'm completely unaware of yet. Here is where I actually am. As the sun comes up, I pull myself out of another rift. CN 0-8-2. Number 3 beaten in 47 minutes flat. I check my status menu, pocket the worthless loot, and hop straight back into my ride for the next run. The second I get some air, my phone starts buzzing. An urgent news notification. Su Hintian Lonchis an Nishching Waid Manhunt. Su Lin named prime suspect in the murder of 14 awakeners. I freeze up for a moment. 14 awakeners? When the hell did I supposedly kill anyone? I open the alert and scan through it quickly. Word is, 14 corpses were found in Night City's East District, taken out 3 days ago. By what points to an ability-based attack, with traces of energy matching my own left behind at the crime scene. The Su family has already handed over the supposed evidence to the association. A countrywide bounty, dead or alive. The comment section is pure chaos. Some people are shocked. Some are arguing that I was literally busy clearing rifts that entire day. Others smell a setup, while some are backing Su Jin-tian, since there's solid proof on the table this time, while some point out to the crowd that he pulled this exact stunt before, only for the board to shut him down. Gazing at the front page for 3 seconds, I let out a cold, cynical laugh. A total frame-up? Man, that's dirty. Fabricating 14 casualties out of thin air, just to brand me as a murderer. My dear old dad. He'll seriously stop at nothing to take me out. Pocketing my phone, I keep my gaze locked on the holographic display. A manhunt means absolutely nothing. I'm rocking a totally different face right now, so nobody can spot me. Still, I'm not quite sure I can take down Su Jin-tian just yet. Sure, a base level 90 dishes out roughly 10 billion damage, but factor in his skill scaling, plus stacked gear and passive traits, and his output is likely hitting the hundreds of trillions. Since Tier 1 players only get a single awakening, and he lacks any sort of HP boosting perks, his actual health pool definitely doesn't come close to that magnitude. I have my stone proxy ready to take a hit, and counter it right back in his face. Logically speaking, that reflected burst ought to obliterate him completely. Even so, I'm not about to risk everything on a gamble. If he's holding some secret life-saving artifact that I've completely overlooked, I'll be the one getting wiped out instead. The moment I wrap up running these rifts, hit level 20, unlock my fresh passives, and deck myself out in level 20 legendary gear, that's when his clock officially runs out. Our ride speeds up toward the next anomaly. I grind nonstop all day, from sunrise to midday. 7 rifts, from noon to dusk. 8 more, pushing deep into the night. Another 9, on top of those 2 from dawn. That brings us to 26 total, 26 rifts. 26 worthless abilities, 26 scraps of future fodder for the furnace. I'm not melting down a single one right now, even though breaking them down this second would give my recovery a nice little bump. My healing factor is already well past enough to breeze through these rifts. What I'm actually lacking right now is raw DPS, and honestly, even a garbage skill. Still chips in a bit of base attack power. That translates to quicker clears. Speed is where I'm falling short. To be fair, I'm starting to think scrapping that initial batch of 10 skills earlier was a bit of a rush job. I should have probably held off until I cleared out the whole area and hit the 20th floor of the tower before locking in any upgrades. By 11 p.m., I dragged myself out of the final rift of the day, drenched in blood from head to toe. My clothes are shredded to ribbons, hair caked with dried gore, and my face is smeared with soot and red stains. I look like a creature that just crawled straight out of the abyss. But hey, I'm breathing. Right behind me, the century-old spatial rift snaps shut like a massive eyelid, gradually sealing before evaporating into nothingness. I collapse straight onto the dirt, gasping for breath, completely spent. Seriously, I am running on absolute fumes. 27 rifts, a solid 24 hours without a wink of sleep. Glancing down at my hands, they're still trembling, not from panic this time, just utter exhaustion. I can't push my luck any further tonight. If I keep grinding, I'm terrified. I'll pass out at the wheel and bite dust from pure overexertion. Forcing myself to stand, I summon the transport, scramble into the cockpit, and flop straight into the seat. 3 seconds later, I pass right out. As I snore away, the ship switches to autopilot, cruising on its own toward the next rift. Little do I know, while I'm catching ZS, the whole world is absolutely blowing up with the news. The online forums have gone totally feral. 26 rifts cleared in just one day, a feat that nobody, in a century of recorded history, has ever come close to. Most folks who ever dared to take on a rift barely managed one, and never dared try again. Someone crunched the numbers. Those 26 rifts had active lifetimes, spanning over 13 years combined, taking more than 50,000 lives, with another 30,000 casualties racking up annually, solely from monster outbreaks. But as of today, every single one is gone. The Rift Management Bureau drops 26 separate updates in a single day, one for each sealed rift, until the account admin themselves shares a meme of a totally wiped out dog, captioned, "Yeah, this is literally me right now." The comments section smashes past 5 million, setting a brand new record. Association Chairman Shin Jojo personally pins a massive statement titled, "The Century's Greatest Shift," proclaiming that these 26 rifts together claimed upwards of 50,000 lives and caused 30,000 yearly deaths from monster breaches. Yet, as of today, they have completely vanished. He officially bestows upon this anonymous savior the title, Hero of Humanity, granting them the association's highest decoration, regardless of whether they ever decide to step into the spotlight. The military puts out a brief but heavily loaded statement, signed by hand rather than stamped with an official graphic, bearing John Jin-young's actual personal seal. Starting right now, anyone who messes with them is messing with the entire military, as well as one of the top 5 global brawlers. An absolute beast at level 89, openly staking his reputation to protect her. Meanwhile, Dragon City Academy drops an official notice, pinned by the legendary old Zhang himself. The administration avoids weighing in on the recent rift-clearing drama, but makes it crystal clear that Su Lin is theirs, meaning anyone looking to mess with him will have to deal with the school first. Naturally, the comment section goes wild. Most netizens have put 2 and 2 together. Only Su Lin, that supposedly garbage-tier genius, possesses the kind of insane, monstrous durability to breeze through rifts, like he's just out doing some casual grocery shopping. And only someone the Su family tried to break would step up as a savior while remaining totally anonymous. Over at the Su family mansion, the entire living room is dead silent. Lin Wanqing blankly stares at her screen, her hands trembling, muttering 26 in a single day over and over in disbelief. Su Yao sits nearby, looking totally pale, haunted by past memories, like the time she tossed Su Lin's food in the trash, or snubbing him after he pulled an all-nighter just to help her with study notes, or walking right by while he was being forced to kneel in the basement. She lets out a bitter laugh, on the verge of tears, wishing she'd treated him better. Su Ling sits completely slumped over, her shoulders shaking as even worse moments flood back, giggling along when Su Chun mocked a birthday present Su Lin had saved up his allowance for months to buy, blaming Su Lin for almost drowning after someone had actually shoved him into a pond, ignoring him down in that basement, passing by without a second glance. Every single memory stabs harder than the last. She glances over at Su at Sean, completely mute, Dying to know what kind of mess he pulled to trigger this. But she loses her nerve. Meanwhile, Su Xiao cowers in the corner, reading through all the hype, swarming the comment section, muttering about how insane her brother is. Right until Lin Wanqing glares her down, forcing her to shut her mouth instantly, even though the pure hype in her eyes is obvious. Su Jintian takes his spot at the head of the table, with 3 separate phones lined up, each displaying the identical press releases from the Academy, the Armed Forces, and the Association. Every single group heavily backing his boy. His expression remains totally blank, yet his knuckles turn white. Clutching the device after a tense pause. Suddenly standing up, he barks, "Get everything prepped." When Lin Wanqing questions what it's for, he declares a massive new manhunt, targeting Sulin, the proven killer of 14 Awakeners. It's a countrywide manhunt, dead or alive. 10 million points for a solid lead. 300 million to bring him in breathing. And 100 million if he's put down. Lin Wanqing is totally shocked. He's seen as a hero now. The entire nation is cheering him on. And this is the exact moment you choose to drop this. Su Jintian cuts her off. It is precisely because he's a hero right now that we have to strike. He cautions. But the more powerful and legendary Su Lin grows, the bigger the threat he poses. He's blitzing 26 rifts a day now. What kind of monster will he be in a month? Or in a year, once he's completely maxed out his level and gear? Using all the loot he's hoarded, he will definitely return to settle the score. Not a single soul in the room can challenge that. Before Su Chan finally breaks his silence, bound to back his old man up, Su Jintian merely gives him a freezing glare. For a second, questioning if he's even got what it takes. Su Chun is left stunned. Su Jintian spins around and exits without saying another word. His posture completely rigid and imposing, like a solid mountain, but nobody catches his actual expression. As he turns his back for the very first time, a brief look flashes over his features, something that strongly resembles pure panic. He is the most powerful man on Earth, the very first level 90 in human history. Yet, he is terrified of the good-for-nothing kid. He spent 18 whole years breaking down, terrified of the absolute beast, who just wiped out 26 rifts in a single day, terrified of what might happen if the boy he discarded ever decides to actually return, because deep down, he knows damn well that if Su Lin comes looking for him, there's absolutely nothing he can do to stop it. Day 4, 6 o'clock in the morning. I make my way out of yet another rift. CN0912 conquered in just 33 minutes. I check out my stats display and dump the worthless loot straight into my inventory. That makes number 101 since Sunday morning. I've been on a non-stop grind, day and night, catching only brief moments of sleep, while my ride cruises along on autopilot. Suddenly, my phone vibrates with a massive news flash headline. Way too long to read in one go. Breaking. The 10th ranked dungeon, Blood Hellbone Tower, opens today. Only its second appearance this century, capped at level 30. A brutal test of survival. My eyes bolt open and I sit bolt upright. Clicking the link, I see it's already the number 1 trending topic, with thousands of new comments flooding in every single minute. Everyone is pointing out that this particular threat is ranked over 300 spots higher in difficulty, compared to the toughest gate I've beat so far. Someone's joking that a health check dungeon feels like a perfect fit for this unknown powerhouse, but others doubt she'd even have the time, seeing as she's smashed 101 rifts in just 3 days. The spot is nestled deep inside the Bayman Mountains, a no-man's land about 14 kilometers outside Night City. My fingers instantly freeze on the display. 14 clicks away. Where I'm standing right now is barely 11 kilometers out. A quick 20-minute trip. I load up the dungeon's full specs. Dungeon name, Blood Hellbone Tower. Difficulty, rank 10. Time window, open for 7 days. Only the second spawn this century. Level cap, under 30. Category, solo dungeon. Intel, entry places an insane demand on the challengers. HP pool, completion rewards a unique grade item or ability. Conquering every single floor guarantees a unique grade skill. Record, opened once half a century ago. 3,700 challengers entered. Survivors, absolutely 0. Below that, an official red warning stamp was added later. This instance's difficulty rating is exceptionally brutal. Not a single person made it out alive. Awakeners below level 30 are severely cautioned to stay away. Do not attempt. Do not attempt. 3,700 people completely wiped out, ranked 10th in absolute difficulty worldwide. I close the thread and bring up the GPS, punching in the exact coordinates. A bright red navigation route pops into view. across the holographic display. 11 kilometers. 20 minutes. I lean back and process this rapidly. A top 10 dungeon, appearing for the second time in 100 years. Designed specifically to test maximum health. This is literally custom-made for me. I've conquered 101 rifts by now, and stacked up 101 throwaway abilities. It's not exactly trash to anyone else. Just totally pointless for a massive HP tank. Like myself. Plus, I've been running low on gear. Worth sacrificing to upgrade my core abilities. The tougher the dungeon, the sweeter the loot. And the clear rewards for a rank 10 dungeon ought to be absolutely mind-blowing. Shu Wei makes a return this coming Monday. I managed to tank one hit from a level 190 sword strike. But I won't walk away from second. I've got to level up my strength. I need whatever crazy treasure this zone is guarding. I must hoard every single resource within reach. Before she gets back, the vehicle bolts forward, a silver-white streak, tearing through the clouds toward the Bayman Range. Deep within those peaks lies an endless, craggy, mist-shrouded wasteland that no sane awakener would ever choose to enter. The weakest mobs out here start at level 50. Yet today, the fog is swarming with crowds. The dungeon's threshold is nestled at the base of a colossal ravine, bordered by towering cliffs draped in dark crimson. Thorny creepers. Right in the center stands a blood-red stone portal, stretching 100 meters high and 50 wide, etched with sigils that writhe like living organisms. Every single twitch oozes a bead of gory, scarlet fluid that sizzles and melts right into the bedrock below. No fewer than 1,000 people have set up camp nearby. Cameramen and journalists are jostling for prime positions, while clan envoys take up spots at the very front, flanked by bodyguards, military, and guild officials, all mingling alongside rogue solo antes. The whole crowd is buzzing with whispers. Has anyone actually gone inside yet? Someone inquires. Who be that crazy? Over 3,000 elites perished last time. Literally every single one a prodigy. Well, folks aren't being quite as reckless nowadays. The toughest dungeon anyone has cleared lately was only ranked around 300th, while this one's sitting at 10th. No one is stepping up. What about that hero? The one who has already cleared over 100 rifts. Think she'll show? Who knows? A health testing dungeon seems tailor-made for her. But honestly, if she doesn't pull up, nobody will. Meanwhile, over to the east, perched on a boulder with a stick of candied fruit, Wang Shiqing is sitting cross-legged. She's happily munching away without a care, even as 2 level 70 guards from her family hover anxiously right by her side. Wang Tiangang warns her that it's unsafe here, and suggests they move a bit closer. She simply rolls her eyes and declines, complaining that the front lines are way too hot and packed. Biting off another piece of fruit, her gaze remains fixed on the blood-red portal. He's definitely showing up, she states. Who? Wang Tiangang asks. Su Lin. She replies, acting like it's totally obvious. A top 10 health testing dungeon? Knowing that guy, there's zero chance he passes this up. Wang Tiangang chuckles softly, asking how she can be so certain. She just hums in response, keeping her eyes on the gateway, completely forgetting to chew her snack. Over on the west side, shaded by a massive rock, Inin squats down, doodling in the dirt with a twig. Han Bing stands nearby, looking incredibly tense. As he watches the portal, Ing Rin leans back against the cliffside, wearing a heavy expression. Lin. Yu keeps his distance to the side, head lowered, completely unreadable. Do you reckon he'll come? Han Bing asks softly. Yin stick pauses. He will. How can you tell? Just a gut feeling. Ingwen chimes in out of nowhere. If he shows up, Su Juntian won't be far behind. The whole crowd goes dead silent. Su Hiantian? The legendary first level 90 in human history. If he's waiting right when I step out of that dungeon, well, I'm pretty much history. Yin tightly grips her staff, squeezing until her knuckles turn white. Then we'll hold him back, she says, gritting her teeth. Even if it buys us just 1 second. Han Bing lets out a bitter laugh. What can a few level 10s even do against a level 90 powerhouse? He could literally delete them without breaking a sweat. We still have to give it a shot, Inin insists, standing up with her eyes fixed on the entrance. He's my brother. Suddenly, the crowd gets restless. Someone's arriving. Hey, someone's coming. Everyone looks over at the canyon entrance. A lone figure slowly makes his way forward. An old man, easily in his 80s, with snow-white hair. He's heavily wrinkled and slightly stooped, dressed in a washed-out gray coat. His pace is steady and totally unbothered, as if the absolute chaos around him means nothing at all. The onlookers part for him automatically, not out of respect, but sheer bewilderment. Who on earth is this old guy? And what's he doing wandering into a mess like this? Ignoring everyone, he walks right up to the stone portal, pauses to stare at it for a brief 3 seconds, and then steps right on in. Whoa! Someone yells, he's actually going inside. Are you out of your mind, old man? That's the number 10 ranked dungeon. Going in there is pure suicide. Block him. Will somebody stop him? But it's too late. His foot has already crossed over the threshold. The ancient runes flare up aggressively, and the trickling blood accelerates rapidly until it fuses into a solid beam of crimson light that completely swallows him whole. A flash, and he's gone. Dead silence falls over the crowd. Then he went in. He actually went in. Who even is that old man, trying to get himself killed? Wait, look at how he walked. What about it? It looked just like that hero's gait. The mystery woman from the forums, even disguised as an old man. Someone screams. It's her. It's the hero. She's in disguise. The whole crowd erupts. Reporters scramble forward. But the doors are already sealed shut. The runes calm again, like nothing happened. The hero went in. She's inside. Bloodhell Bone Tower. Get this out now. Now. Total chaos breaks out across the canyon. At the top of the cliff, a figure stands with arms folded behind his back. Su Jiantian, dressed in black combat gear. His level 90 badge gleaming in the morning light. 20 black-clad warriors stand behind him, all level 70 or higher, radiating a deathly calm. He looks down at the door, then at the chaos surrounding it. His face shows nothing. It's him, he says quietly, only loud enough for his own men to hear. He went in. We wait. The moment he comes out, that's the moment he dies. His men respond in unison. Back on a rock, Wang Shuqing's candied fruit drops from her hand. She stares at the door, eyes burning bright. Knew it, she mutters, unable to stop smiling. Then she turns toward the cliff top, sees the black figure standing there, and her expression darkens. Su Jiantian's here, she says. He's going to ambush him at the exit. Wang Tiangang lets out a sigh right next to her. Look, Qing, this whole mess is completely out of our hands. The guy's level 90, literally the strongest man on Earth. There's no way I can stop him. She stays completely quiet, just glaring at the entrance with her fists tightly clenched. Over in the shadows on the western side, Ining catches sight of that same silhouette atop the cliff and turns pale. He's actually here. She whispers under her breath. He really made it. Hombing's expression completely drops too. What's our move once Su Lin makes it out? Ingrid suddenly cuts in. How about we worry if he's even coming out alive first? The whole group instantly freezes in place. Ing Rin keeps her eyes locked on the entryway, her face filled with mixed emotions. The 10th ranked dungeon. 3,700 people went in, and every single one died. Whether he can even make it through this is honestly anyone's guess right now. Ining bites down on her lip, completely at a loss for words. Linu finally raises her gaze, staring straight at the doorway as she speaks softly. He'll make it out. He gave us his word that he would. The moment I crossed the stone threshold, all the shouting and frantic noise behind me vanished completely, instantly swallowed up by a pitch-black silence. Then, a sudden, blinding flash erupts. I find myself standing inside a colossal tower, constructed entirely out of bones, genuine bones. Every single wall, the floor, and the ceiling are tightly stacked with human rib cages, femurs, skulls, and massive monster backbones, along with sharp claws and fangs. They're crammed together so tightly it gives me absolute chills. The entire structure looms upward way beyond my line of sight, propped up by massive skeletal pillars, etched with distorted runes that pulse with a bloody crimson glow, mimicking a slow heartbeat. Right in the center sits a gigantic tablet made of bone, etched all over with blood-red text. Bloody Hell Bone Tower. 100 floor trial rules. Last 1 minute on each floor to move up. Floors 1 to 50. Beastly difficulty spikes with every level. No getting out. Make it or break it. Floors 51 to 100. Beat a floor, and you can choose to bail. And grab loot that matches your progress. Higher floors mean way better drops. Floor 100 is the absolute cap. Hitting it unlocks a unique grade skill. All-time record, floor 43. Set 5,300 years back by Neo Ermin of Coward Star. FYI, that record holder is long dead. Current floor 1. Monster, Blood-Tide Worms X 1000. Stats. Level 1, Attack 100, HP 100. Win condition. Survive 60 seconds. Countdown, 60 seconds. The second I finish reading, the skeletal ledge beneath me starts to quake. Like crazy, shards of bone break off the sides, plunging into a massive ocean of crimson fog, where mangled faces shred them to pieces and gulp them down. The ledge is shrinking right before my eyes, and the creeps are clawing their way up. Crimson maggots, palm-sized but a whole damn army of them, oozing out from every single crevice. They swarm toward me like a wave. I stand perfectly still and let the first one sink its teeth into my foot, digging its tiny fang maw right into me. Minus 100 damage. Reflect 100. Its body stiffens up on the spot, its skull bursting open. While its teeth are still locked onto my foot, it gives a single twitch, rips right down the middle, and dies. Next comes the second, then the third, and the fourth. They pile high into a heap, burying me completely under the pack, chopping down on me hundreds of times a second. Every single nip counters right back, dropping them on the spot. Glancing at my stats, current HP sits at 31 trillion, with a passive regen of 165 billion per second. This supposed damage is an absolute joke. I just chill here and let them gnaw away at nothing. 10 seconds roll by, 20, 30, and the maggots are getting desperate, perishing at a faster and faster rate. Some straight up burst into gory splatters. The very instant they sink their teeth in, gore and maggot carcasses pile up across the stage, streaming like a torrent. 50 seconds in, the zone has shrunk to scarcely 10 meters wide. The pests keep swarming, but their horde is noticeably thinning out. 58, 59, 60, ding. Floor 1 completed. Remaining HP, 31 trillion. Welcome to Floor 2. Out of nowhere, the ground vanishes beneath my feet, sending me plummeting straight down into the abyss. The gale howls past an endless crimson chasm underneath. Deformed visages stretch out from the fog, clawing for me. Yet whenever they edge too close, they screech and flinch as if scorched by open flame. I know exactly why. My health pool is so insanely massive that even these phantoms can't bring themselves to lay a finger on me. Floor 2, the Bone Spike Woods. I free fall for about 10 seconds before striking terra firma. Once more, this level is a sprawling forest, if you can even call them trees. They are entirely bone white and ashen black, sprouting vertically right out of the dirt. Human rib cages, monstrous backbones, and massive, unidentifiable skeletal talons, with some towering up to 100 meters high. Skeletal branches hang heavy with mummified remains, drifting slowly in the breeze, resembling a woods of executed men, fringing the borders of the stage. Thick clusters of skeletal spikes are inching toward me. Current level, Floor 2. Threat, skeletal spike woods. Entity properties, no health bar, inflicts 1,000 piercing DPS within the stage boundaries. Objective, hold out for 60 seconds. Ticking down 60 seconds. The exact moment the prompt fades, a sharp spire shoots, straight up from the skeletal floor under my boots. Minus 1,000. Another one. Minus 1,000. Yet another minus 1,000. Spikes pop, up like weeds after a heavy rain, bursting from every single inch of the ground. Some slender as a twig, others thick as my arm. One pierces right through the bottom of my foot. I just stand my ground and take every single hit. 10 strikes per second, 1,000 a pop. That's 10,000 damage every second. But against my 465 billion healing per second? Man, that's not even a rounding error. Honestly, these spikes can't even skin me. They just shatter on impact, disintegrating into dust the moment they snap, blowing away in the breeze. 10 seconds, 20, 30, the briars grow tighter and stouter, some bending at a harsh angle against my leg. Right before cracking, others detonate into powder right at my waist. One smacks my face and doesn't even leave a scratch. 50 seconds, 58, 59, 60, ding. Floor 2 cleared. The stage plummets again and I drop. Floor 3, crimson sea mosquitoes. This whole level is a blood-soaked marsh. The air is so thick I could practically wring water from it. Bubbles are bursting in the sludge, unleashing waves of foul stench. A bloody fog that scalds the skin like acid. Right in the heart of the marshland sits a lone 10-meter platform, littered with mosquito carcasses. Well, they aren't dead. Each one is fist-sized, crimson red, boasting sheer wings and a needle-sharp snout, as long as a finger gleaming in the gloom. They are crammed tight across the structure, some feeding, others mating, some dropping eggs right into the nearby dead bodies. The second I touch down, every single bug snaps its head up simultaneously, their compound eyes all mirroring the exact same image. A flesh and blood human silhouette. A buzzing uproar thunders out, like 10 million tiny motors revving up together. They take flight in a thick, pitch-black cloud, heading straight for me. Current level, Floor 3. Mob, Blood Mosquito Swarm X, 5,000 attributes. Level 3 attack, 300 health, 300. Lifesteal, recovers 30 HP per strike. Victory condition, Hold out for 60 seconds. Timer, 60 seconds. The first pest lands right on my face and plunges its stinger deep into my cheek. Minus 300 counter damage. 300. Its stinger is still stuck in my flesh when its own noggin suddenly explodes, spraying warm, foul-smelling gore all over my face. Then comes the second, the third, the fourth. All 5,000 mob me at the exact same time, clustering into a dark sphere around my entire body. Every spike stabbing in, active with lifesteal. Each and every one trying to suck me completely dry. Minus 300, minus 300, minus 300, deflected right back every single time. Yet not a single one of them manages to siphon even a solitary droplet of my blood. Their stingers hit my skin like crashing into armor plating. Rather than eating, they straight up blow their own brains out from the recoil, dropping dead one after another. Whole swarms of M, completely wiped out. The bodies just keep stacking up on the stage, getting totally flattened by the rest of the mob. Nothing but blood and shredded wings, forming a thick, nasty layer under my boots. 10 seconds go by, then 20, 30, and their ranks are thinning out big time. Hit the 50-second mark and the very last bug takes one final swing at me, before snapping right in two and dropping at my feet. 58, 59, 60, ding. Third floor cleared. The stage gives way, and I'm free-falling again. Floors 4 through 49. Honestly, I completely lose count of how many times I plummet past this point. All I know is that every drop lands me on a brand new level, and each one throws a different kind of hell at me. 10,000 venomous scorpions with stacking damage over time debuffs. 800 ravenous wolves packing double damage charge attacks. 500 fire elementals that detonate the moment they die. 300 frost phantoms that freeze whatever they touch, given enough hits. 100 cloak shadow assassins rocking a 50% critical hit rate. 50 stone behemoths with utterly insane defense stats. Level after level, a whole new monster. A new attack meta, a new way to bite the dust. But for me, it's all the exact same story. I just stand around and let them wail on me, then watch every single one of them drop dead. From the counter damage, my status screen turns into a literal waterfall of combat logs. Take 1,200 damage, reflect 1,200. Take 3,500 damage, reflect 3,500. Take 8,000 damage, reflect 8,000. Take 20,000 damage, reflect 20,000. The scaling just keeps skyrocketing. By floor 20, incoming strikes are hitting for 10k a pop. By floor 30, it's 30k. Level 40, 100,000. Moving up to floor 49. Current location, level 49. Enemy, Bloodbone Giant X1. Profile, level 49. Attack power, 10 million. HP, 1 billion. Victory requirement. Hold out for 60 seconds. The Colossus stands 100 meters tall, crafted entirely from crimson bones. 2 pools of crimson fire blaze within its eye sockets. Glaring down at me, it lifts a massive foot and stomps. Boom! Down 10 million HP. The impact buries me 3 inches into the floor. Yet I stand my ground, looking up with a smirk. That does it. The thing snaps, unleashing a barrage of furious punches. 10 million. 10 million. Another 10 million, relentlessly striking like it's gone berserk. I sink a bit further down with every blow, but I won't drop. Checking my status screen. 31 trillion HP. 465 billion health regeneration per second. Absorbing 10 strikes in 10 seconds equals 100 million total damage. Meanwhile, my recovery over that exact span is 4.65 trillion. It barely scratches me. The countdown reaches the 60-second mark while the behemoth is mid-swing. Fury burning bright in its eyes. Utterly baffled as to why I'm still breathing. Ding! Floor 49 successfully cleared. The staging area gives way, sending me plunging again. Floor 50, the Bloodbone King. This descent feels far longer than the previous ones. Long enough that I wonder if I'll ever hit bottom. Contorted faces lunging out from the fog. Over and over, only to flinch away at the absolute last second. At last, my feet touch solid ground. This arena is grander than all the prior levels. Put together, so massive its boundaries vanish from sight. Atop an elevated platform rests a throne, sculpted from blood-red bones, occupied by a solitary figure. It stands up and makes its way down, step by step, making the surrounding abyss tremble with every stride. The crimson fog swirls around like it's bowing to royalty. It halts right before me, vaguely humanoid but totally not human, encased from head to toe in blood-red bone armor, carved with intricate runes with no actual face. Just a blank mask with 2 dark, empty sockets, blazing with golden fire. Current level, floor 50. Boss, Bloodbone King. Stats, attack, 50 million. HP, 50 billion. Abilities, Bone Spike Impale AoE. Death Gaze, single target. One-shot kill. Blood Pact. Life Steal. Win condition. Hold out for 60 seconds. He stares at me with those golden eyes, like he's trying to peer straight through my soul. You're powerful, he remarks. His voice sounds like grinding bone. I stay silent. He takes a step closer. But you've got to die. He raises a single hand, and a myriad of blood. Red spikes burst forth from underneath the stage. Thick as a forest, each standing 10 meters high, sharp enough to rip through reality itself. They thrust toward me from every single angle. Minus 50 million. Minus 50 million. Minus 50 million with every strike. My entire body trembles from the massive force. But since I'm sitting on 31 trillion HP and recovering 465 billion every single second, this damage doesn't even make a dent. The king hesitates, visibly caught off guard. He lifts his other hand up, and his golden eyes flash intensely. Death Gaze triggers. A flash of golden light beams from his gaze, hitting me dead on. My body freezes for a split second. An eerie, freezing sensation yanks at me, like it's attempting to rip my soul right out of my chest. Then it just vanishes. Death Gaze target's HP exceeds the safety threshold. Skill failed. The king completely freezes. He stares down at his own palm in disbelief. And then, looking back at me for once, something besides pure malice flickers in those golden eyes. It's confusion, maybe even fear. See, it can't kill me, can't even scratch me, and its absolute insta-death skill just totally backfired. Every single strike, that definitely should have. One shot a guy at my level is just hitting me, like it's absolutely nothing. A full minute ticks away. I don't have a single scratch on my body. The king just stands right across from me, shaking. Ding. Floor 50 cleared. Nicely done. You've unlocked a reward selection. Make a choice. Option 1. Leave now, and take the prize corresponding to your current floor. Option 2. Keep on floor 51. After beating any floor, you could decide to push forward, or cash out with that specific floor's loot. Eye the choices for less than a split second. Continue. The floor drops away, and I'm plunging downward once more. Floors 51 through 89. This is where things get real different. From floor 51 onward, we're talking no more waves of basic mobs. It's just guardians now, one per floor. But a single one of these guys is way more terrifying than every single monster from the previous. Floors packed together. Take the guardian of floor 51. A blood-armored brawler with 80 million attack power and 80 billion HP, brandishing a massive blade. That deals 80 million damage with every single hit. I just chill and let him wail on me for 60 seconds. He manages to get off 40 chops before the damage reflection completely destroys him on its own. Floor 52, a Bloodwing Witch. 100 million attack, 100 billion HP, soaring and blinking around while spamming AoE spells. 10 times a second at a cool 100 million pops each. I just let her blast me for the full 60 seconds. She completely runs out of mana by the 50-second mark and drops right out of the sky dead. Floors 53, 54, 55. Every single boss gets tougher than the last. Higher DPS, weirder skill sets. Some lifesteal, some ignore armor. Some go for one-shots, others try crowd control. Honestly, I couldn't care less. I just stand around and let them wail on me, then watch my reflex shred them to pieces. By floor 60, the Guardian's attack hits 500 million. At 70, it's sitting at 5 billion. By 80, 50 billion. By 85, a whopping 500 billion. Meanwhile, my HP is 31 trillion. A 500 billion strike could down me in 6 hits, but none of them ever pull off 6 hits, because my reflect is maxed at 100%. So every single blow they land on me, they take that exact same damage right back. Most of these Guardians don't pack anywhere near 31 trillion HP themselves. So after 2 or 3 swings, they're already history, usually staring at me with a face like, "What the hell even are you?" right before they bite it. I've completely numbed out to it by now. Floor 89's Guardian. A level 89 Blood Shadow Demon. 800 billion attack, 80 trillion HP. Seeing those stats makes my twitch a bit. 800 billion per hit, 80 trillion health. That means it can strike roughly 10 times before my reflect deletes it. But even if it connects 10 times, I'll have recovered health between most shots anyway. I take a breath and brace myself. The demon moves at insane speed. A crimson silhouette blurring right into my face, burying a fist dead into my chest. Minus 800 billion. Reflect, 800 billion. Its frame shuddered, a deep fissure ripping across its hand. Blood starts pouring out, completely unstoppable. Yet, it doesn't instantly throw another strike. The thing needs a sec to bounce back. A second blow, down 800 billion. A 2-second window between strikes. That's precisely enough time for my HP to max out again. Punch number 3. Punch number 4. By the 5th strike, it stares down at its own body. A gaping wound has been blown straight through its chest. Its luminous core is clearly visible inside. For the very first time, it locks eyes with me. An emotion besides pure fury appears in its gaze, bewilderment. What even are you? I stay silent. The 10th strike connects, and its entire form blows apart. Splintering into crimson light, it fades away into nothingness. Ding. Floor 89 completed. Proceed. The notification for a split second. Proceed. The ground drops out, sending me plunging onto floor 90. Floor 90, blood hell Asura. There isn't even a solid floor here. I'm just suspended in a boundless crimson abyss. Nothing beneath my boots, nothing hovering overhead. Only a churning, tempestuous, blood-red haze. Spreading out in every single direction. It feels like a boiling sea of gore. A massive entity shifts way out in the distance. A monolithic silhouette looms forward from deep within the fog. Every single stride rattles the fabric of the void. The vapor splits right around it, as if shoved aside by invisible hands. It halts directly in front of me, an Asura, standing 1,000 meters tall, clad from head to toe in obsidian bone plate armor. Blood. Crimson fire vents from every seam in its gear. Its visage is a demonic Asura mask with no actual eyes. There are just 2 hollow pits of burning red flame. Current floor 90 monster, blood hell, Asura. Asura stats, 1 trillion attack, 10 trillion health. My eyes instantly go wide looking at those numbers. A trillion pop, and my max HP sits at 31 trillion. Basic math, for hits, and I'm a goner. My health regeneration is 15% every second, which translates to 4.65 trillion per second. Meaning, I'll need 2.15 seconds to fully recover from just one blow. Is this monster really going to give me 2.15 seconds? Hell if I know. And right now, I can't afford to push my luck. My mind goes into overdrive, trying to find a way out. Run? There's no edge in this endless void to escape to. Dodge? This massive thing is 1,000 meters tall. A single swing easily sweeps a 100-meter radius. There's only one card left to play. Inhaling deeply, I frantically tap through my status menu. Furnace Stone activate. A fist-sized black rock shoots right out of my ring, floating before me as its golden inscriptions flare up. It's acting like a starved wolf that just caught the scent of fresh meat. Select skills for conversion. I quickly scan through my 101 garbage skills. Sand resistance, rock armor, poison mist, stone skin, frost shards, flame, body, thunder, shadow damage, light, strike. I grab the whole lot, selecting 85 of them in one swipe, shoving every single one directly into the artifact. The stone begins to shudder violently. 85 multicolored beams of light burst from my interface and feed right into it, making the golden patterns burn so intensely that the air hums and vibrates with power. Gritting my teeth, I keep my gaze locked on the stone. Suddenly, 85 golden rays of light explode outward, swirling and roaring around me like a pack of 85 golden dragons. The whole abyss trembles. That crimson fog gets utterly shredded by the radiance. And right through it, the Asura's blazing eyes gleam with a brand new look. Pure shock. No time to overthink this, though. Choose a passive perk to upgrade. Without a second thought, I pump the very first ray straight into healing boost. HP regen per second, 15%, 16%. The second ray hits, 16%, 17%. The third, 17%, 18%. The fourth, 18%, 19%. Ray after ray keeps flooding into me. Every single blast makes my blood surge, way harder than the last. It's that same bloated, high-pressure sensation from earlier, only this time it feels 10 times worse, 100 times worse. My blood vessels are bursting open. My heart is pounding wildly out of control, and every single bone is groaning under the strain. But I can't back down. The Asura is already making its move. Its 1,000-meter frame takes just one stride, and suddenly stands right in front of me. That colossal hand completely blocks out the sky as it crashes downward. Boom! -1 trillion. I get hurled 300 meters straight down, yet I'm still breathing. Checking my status menu. Health, 31 trillion, 21 trillion. Recovery at 19%, 589 billion per second. An instant later, my HP spikes back up to 21 trillion. then 26.89 trillion. A massive 589 billion recovered in a single tick. Just one more second, and I'd be fully healed. But the Asura isn't about to give me that chance. Its other hand is already coming down. Boom! Another trillion gone. I sink another 300 meters. From 26.89 trillion down to 16.89 trillion. Gritting my teeth, I force the remaining rays into the skill as fast as possible. The 20th ray lands. 25%, 26%, 21st, 26%, 27%, 22nd, 27%, 28%. That third hand drops, boom. Another trillion, 16.89 trillion total. At 6.89 trillion, my HP is hitting rock bottom. Just one more hit, and I'm a goner. Seeing red, I unload every single remaining beam at once. Beams 31 through 60 crank me up from 48% to 78%. Beam 61 through 85 blast me straight to 100%, boom. The exact moment that final beam connects. It feels like I've been set ablaze. My blood turns completely boiling hot. Each drop scorching my heart, pounding insanely hard. Like it's about to rip right out of my chest. My skin radiates an eerie golden red glow like molten iron. The UI finally updates. Passive 1, healing boost. Health tier upgrade successful. Added effect, recovers. 100% max HP per second. Full 100% healing every single second. Meaning, as long as I've got a single drop of blood left, I'll be back at max HP a second later. Glancing up, the Asura's fourth hand is already coming down, packing enough raw power to end the world. Blanketing the whole void, there's zero room to dodge. Nowhere to run, so I don't even bother trying. I just stand my ground, head tilted back, watching that colossal hand descend. Bam! It hits me dead on. -1 trillion, but half a second before impact. Passive 1 kicks in. Heal 100% max HP per second. Current health, 31 trillion, fully healed. Standing tall, right in the void. The golden red light still shimmering off my skin. Staring up at the massive palm, still pinning me down. The Asura completely freezes, gazing down at the human beneath its palm. That very same mortal who was on the brink of death a moment ago. How is he suddenly back at max HP? It can't wrap its head around it. Lifting its massive arm, it brings it crashing down a second time. Boom! -1 trillion. But a split second later, passive 1 procs, granting a 100% heal. Current health, 31 trillion. Fully restored again, the Asura completely loses its mind. For the very first time, a strangely human emotion flashes. Within those blazing eyes, absolute terror. This entity has existed for tens of millennia, survived endless wars, and slaughtered uncounted rivals. Yet, it has never faced anything quite like this. It's not just that I won't die, it's way worse. The very second it's about to finish me off, I just snap right back, and I return with full health every single time. Hovering out in the void of the 90th floor, the 5th heavy strike comes crashing down. Wham! Another trillion points of damage. I don't even bat an eye before, an instant later, passive 1 triggers, completely healing 100% of my max HP. Current health, 31 trillion. Back to full life. For the first time ever, something distinctly vulnerable flickers inside the Asura's. Fiery gaze, sheer dread. This beast has roamed for thousands of years, endured countless clashes, and ended countless lives. But it has never encountered a player like me. Being unkillable doesn't even begin to describe it anymore. It's the fact that no matter how hard it hits, I just bounce right back to 100% health in a heartbeat. The monster gazes down at its body. The fissure in its chest, torn open by my damage, has fractured so wide that I can actually see its glowing essence. Throbbing inside, 5 strikes have landed now. That's 5 trillion in reflected damage taken. Out of its 10 trillion total pool, it's already down a half health. It wavers, 10,000 years old, and for the very first time, it's second-guessing its next move. But the system rules won't let it quit. It's forced to strike, forced to try and take me out. If it doesn't, its own life is forfeit. Instead, it lets out a roar and slams down a 6th time. Boom! Another trillion damage. My HP drops, then immediately snaps back to full. Meanwhile, its own health plummets further. 7th slam, 8th strike. By this point, its chest has completely ruptured, the pulsating core barely holding on inside, looking like it might tumble out at any moment. It glances down at me. I haven't budged an inch this entire time. With my eyes calm as a stagnant pool, it finally realizes it's not losing because I outmatch it in power. It's losing because of the constraints trapping it here. If no protocol were forcing it to keep fighting, it would have bailed a long time ago. 10th slam. Boom. That's the hit that finally breaks it. Fissures spread across its massive, 1,000-meter frame, like a massive spiderweb. Shattered bone armor flakes off piece by piece. As the crimson flames die out one after another, it gazes down at me one final time, with no malice remaining in its stare. No lingering bitterness, just pure relief. You win. Boom. Its body detonates, splintering into countless embers of red light that evaporate into nothingness. Ding. Floor 90 cleared. Proceed. I catch my breath. Proceed. Floors 91 through 99. Each level brings another Asura raid. Scaling up predictably. 1.1 trillion on floor 91. 1.2 trillion on 92. Climbing steadily all the way to 1.9 trillion by floor 99. At this point, it's just pure routine. They strike me, and I instantly regenerate. They take the reflect damage, then they die. Ding! Floor 99 has been cleared. Welcome to the final floor. Floor 100. Lord of Blood Hell. This time, the platform doesn't drop. Instead, it rises as the crimson mist parts. The contorted faces fade away. The infinite emptiness transforms into a colossal palace. It's so tall that the ceiling is out of sight. It's so vast that I can't even see the outer walls. Every square inch is engraved with war reliefs of humans, monsters, and Asuras. Countless unidentifiable entities are locked in combat, bleeding and dying. Right at the center stands an elevated dais, and upon it rests a throne sculpted from blood, red bone, still pulsing as though it were alive. Seated upon that throne is a figure. It isn't exactly human, but rather a humanoid form composed entirely of dense, intertwining skeletal structures of crimson. Featureless, like a living monument of bone. As it stands up, the entire palace trembles. It steps downward, one pace at a time, each heavy stride fracturing the floor beneath it. A dark, bloody radiance, and a stifling aura pour heavily from every single fissure. It halts right before me, looming 100 meters tall, like a miniature mountain staring down at me with hollow, vacant sockets. Yet, I can feel its gaze locked on me. Current level, floor 100. Boss, Lord of Blood Hell. Attack, 30 trillion. Health, 300 trillion. Skills, none. Description, needs no special abilities. It just keeps throwing punches. How many blows can you survive? My eyes narrow as I scan those insane stats. 30 trillion a pop, and 300 trillion total HP. Man, just one hit from that thing cost me a whole second to recover from. And to take it down using only Thorn's damage, I'd have to endure 100 strikes. Just 100 blows. Taking a deep breath, I gaze up at the 100-meter skeletal, behemoth as it stares right back. We trade silence for 3 whole seconds, and then it reacts. Lifting its massive skeletal hand, it brings it crashing down. Boom! Minus 30 trillion. I'm slammed 3 meters deep into the dirt. Yet my health bar instantly tops off. My first passive kicks in, healing me for 100%. I look up at the thing while it stares down at its own fist. A hairline fracture has formed. It keeps coming, second strike, boom. Another 30 trillion gone, and I sink 3 meters deeper, fully healed again, as another fissure spreads across its hand. Third hit, fourth, fifth, and by the 10th, its fist is half demolished. It doesn't quit by the 20th. Its wrist is snapped right through. The 30th gets its forearm, and on the 40th, the elbow joint completely obliterates. By the 50th, the entire arm breaks in two and dissolves into dust on the ground. It stares down at the empty socket where its arm used to be, then raises its opposite hand to keep hammering away. Punch 51, then the 60th, the 70th, and the 80th. Right at the 81st, its other arm gives out too. So now it's just standing there, completely armless, meaning it has to pivot to its legs. Stomping down on me instead, 82nd, 83rd, 84th, stretching all the way to the 99th. By this point, its whole body is a total wreck, with fragments of bone constantly flaking off, and a gaping crater blasted straight through its ribs, allowing me to witness its crimson center beating violently. It stares down at me for the very first time, and something totally different than fury or dread flickers within those hollow, empty sockets. Just sheer bewilderment. You, how are you still breathing? Crawling out from the freshest crater, I pull myself up straight. This monster has been alive for 100 millennia, watching endless challengers pass through these gates. But it's never faced a soul like me, someone who literally just takes every single hit, and takes it down purely using reflection damage. 100 strikes. It unloaded 100 strikes on me, yet it's the one biting the dust. Then completely out of nowhere, it chuckles. That featureless face somehow distorts into an expression. Excellent. Splendid, splendid. It repeats the word thrice right before its frame bursts apart, sending shards of bone flying in every direction. The blood-red core tumbles out from its ruptured torso and slides to a halt right by my boots, still throbbing. Thump, thump, thump. Suddenly, a booming echo resonates inside my mind. 100,000 years, and you're the first. The only one who's actually given me a real thrill, kid. Take your prize. The core shatters violently, dissolving into countless specks of glowing crimson light that surge straight into me, sending a massive shockwave through my frame. The sheer energy is absolutely insane, making me feel like I might explode from within. It isn't agony, but pure force, an aggressive power expanding rapidly inside, forcing every single cell to vibrate under the tension. This intensifies for a solid 10 seconds, before the chaos finally begins to recede. Flashing my eyes open, glowing golden letters materialize in midair. Congratulations on conquering the 100th floor of Blood. Hellbone Tower. You have unlocked a unique tier active skill. Twin Body. A truly unique ability. Separate into a duplicate that has all your might, your combat level, and capabilities. Any progress made by either form, whether level, talent, or expertise, is instantly synced with the other. The double cannot be detected by any sort of energy-based scanning. Both entities share a single life force. If one of them perishes, the survivor turns into the lone remaining body. Only a single clone can be active at once. Cooldown time, 30 days. I gawk at the glowing text for a few moments. Twin Body, unique rank. Manifest a duplicate possessing your current raw power, attributes, and techniques. Any growth from either vessel transfers immediately to the other, completely invisible to energy radar tracking. The two bodies split one lifetime. Should one die, the leftover one becomes the sole vessel. Just one clone allowed at a time. 30-day cooldown. I reread the description 3 times, then exhale slowly. Holy crap. I'm honestly at a total loss for words. A unique grade trait. Literally no one else in the cosmos has this. Being untraceable implies that if Shui Wei returns with that locating device, she won't ever spot a clone of mine. Plus, even if she destroys my real self, the copy carries on. After a month, I can just summon a brand new one. They share one life, so if either goes down, the remaining one takes over as the only one left. Which means I pretty much have 2 lives now. Well, not strictly 2 independent lives. More like a single life divided in 2. If my original self bites the dust, the duplicate simply takes over as the primary body. And if the clone gets wrecked, the main body is perfectly fine, provided both of us don't bite the dust at the exact same moment. I'm pretty much immortal. My hand is shaking a bit. I can't stop picturing Shui Wei's bloodshot eyes, and her final threat about coming back to drag me to hell. In 3 days' time, that psycho is going to return with better gear and nastier tactics. Sure, I survived a single level 190 strike, but what if she brings 10 of them next time? What if she unleashes something even worse? Yet with this ability, I can never truly stay dead. It's a totally broken cheat code. Now I just have to figure out how to actually pilot it. Locking my focus, I utter split. I feel an entity being yanked straight out of my core. It doesn't hurt, it just feels bizarre. Almost like another version of me is stepping right out of my skin. A split second later, there's a second guy standing dead ahead of me, stark naked and looking exactly like me. It's my actual face, the one hidden beneath the mask. Not any of my fakes. He looks down at his own hands, feels his face, and then locks eyes with me. We just stare at each other for a solid 3 seconds. He speaks up first, his voice a perfect match of my own. I'm Yuhan. Yeah, I reply. You're my clone. He casts a glance down at his bare body, then looks back up, clearly a bit awkward. Any chance I can get some clothes first? Chuckle vouching, I pull a spare outfit from my storage ring. The exact same basic jacket and trousers I picked up back in Night City, and tossed them over. He throws them on, grumbling, spawning into the world buck naked. Real classy. I keep tracking his movements, totally transfixed. His vocal cadence, his body language. Even that slightly irritating, smug confidence. It's a mirror image of me once he finishes dressing. He stretches out and glances my way. So what's the deal? You're the prime host. I'm the replica, and we share a single life. As long as we don't both kick the bucket together, neither of us is truly dead. Spot on, I reply. Stepping forward, he stares down at his hands and scans the area around us. This is pretty trippy, he mutters. I've got all your memories, your exact thoughts, and every feeling. I know precisely how you view me. and I know just how I see myself. I stay silent, and he looks up to meet my eyes. You want me to take the furnace stone and the mask, then go lay low somewhere? I give a nod. He cracks that familiar, quiet, subtle smirk that I always give. Smart call. He adds, that psycho chick returns in 3 days. She's rocking a tracking compass, tuned to distinct energy signatures. It can lock onto you, but can't trace me. I'll mask up, alter my appearance and aura, grab the furnace stone, and find a quiet spot to hide. No brawling, and no grinding for levels. Since any stat boost you get hits me too, no one will even guess I'm around. Technically, the double could close rifts without being tracked. But with way too many wildcards still out there, it's wiser for the duplicate to play it safe and let the primary body take the heat. I'll mull it over for a second, then pull the fist-sized furnace stone from my ring and hand it over. It makes no difference who keeps it, as our progression syncs up instantly either way. But if the main body is out there fighting and happens to go down, my current gear could end up looted. It's safer with a clone. He takes it, so I lock in, and this unseen disguise emerges from my form and rests right in my hand. I stare at a moment, then pass it over to him as well. I need this double to lay low and stay safe. The safer he keeps, the safer I stay. He grabs the mask and pushes it onto his face. It fuses into his flesh right away, vanishing completely. An instant later, his features begin to warp into that middle-aged guy's look I previously used back in Night City. Weathered skin, creases, and 5 o'clock shadow. Nobody recognizes this mug, he remarks. Eat dough. He morphs once more into a silver-haired senior. Stooped over. No one knows this guy either. Shifting yet again, he becomes a guy in his early 20s. Pretty plain and trustworthy. This works too. I can't even hold back a chuckle. You're seriously having a blast with this, huh? He smirks right back. Why the hell not? Got nothing better to do. You handle the biting the dust part, and I'll handle the living, if you actually bite it. I take your place when the respawn cooldown ends, and you can clone me again. I nod and open my menu, accessing the tower marketplace and sliding down to the level 10. Legendary equipment tier. Level 10 legendary armor. Immortal cuirass, 20,000 HP, 1 million credits. Level 10. Legendary ring, band of vitality. 10,000 HP, 1,000 attack, 1 million credits. I purchased the complete gear set, plus an extra dimensional ring, and hand it all over. He gears up in the armor, slides the ring on, and then checks out his own stats. User, Sulin clone. Level 10, HP, 31 trillion. Attack, 2,000. Passive 1, recovery surge, buffed 100% max health per second. Passive 2, spike bone retaliation buffed, 100% damage reflection. Passive 3, taunt. Passive 4, extreme cold resistance. Passive 5, stone standing. Active 1, 12-hour cooldown. Shadow step. Active 2, blood sacrifice, 8-minute cooldown. Active 3, teleportation. Active 4, twin body. Already active, on cooldown until one copy drops dead. Checking himself out, he gives a satisfied nod. Decent gear and threads. No more running around stark naked. You head out first, I instruct him. Stay stealthy and find a quiet spot to lay low. A fish garden, whatever works. Just keep your head down, got it? He acknowledges, focuses up, and vanishes on the spot. Shadow step, still completely invisible. He heads over toward the far side of the palace. Right at the edge, he pauses and steals a glance back. I can't actually see him, but I know he's looking. A subtle ripple distorts the air. An instant later, teleportation. He's completely gone. Inhaling deeply, I face the glowing golden portal. The mask isn't with me anymore. This is my actual face now. The clone has a bigger need for it than me. He's the one who needs to remain undercover. Meanwhile, back over at the Bayman Mountain Canyon, the Crimson Stone Gateway has been firmly shut for 2 whole hours. If anything, the crowd outside has only multiplied. Journalists are jostling for the best camera angles. Clan spies are huddling up, keeping eyes glued to the door. The military has barricaded the entire canyon entrance. Association operatives are holding the front line, gear primed to log whatever happens next. Perched atop the cliffside, Su Jin Tian stands with his hands clasped behind his back. His 20 black-clad guards remain as still as statues. Right behind him on the eastern flank, Rokwang Shuerching has already downed 3 candied fruit skewers. Tossing the final stick aside, she begins to pace. What's taking him so long? She mumbles. It's been a whole 2 hours. Wang Tiangang notes that time operates differently. Inside instances, days could be flying by in there, while a mere 2 hours tick away out here. Don't rush me, she snaps back, glaring. How can I not be freaking out? That jerk Su Jing Tian is staking out the exit. The second he shows his face, he's history. Wang Tian gang size, well aware she has a point. Level 90, the most powerful man on Earth. There's absolutely nothing he can do to stop it. No one can within the Western shadows. Yin has practically snapped her stick into 18 pieces, from all her nervous twiddling. Han Bing tells her to give the poor twig a break. Ignoring him, she just keeps at it. Rin leans against the cavern wall, unusually sharp and focused. Eyes locked on the entrance. Linyu stands nearby, clutching the edge of her skirt so tightly that her knuckles have turned stark white. He'll make it out, Linyu says softly. Yin looks over. He gave us his word. Linyu murmurs in agreement. Suddenly, the entire canyon rumbles. It's opening. The gateway is shifting, drawing everyone's gaze. The crimson stone portal begins to radiate, its ancient glyphs pulsing wildly as if coming alive. The trickling blood accelerates, condensing into a solid beam of red light that rockets straight toward the heavens. The pillar holds for 3 seconds, and then a silhouette emerges from the glow.